And the button to pushy. The button to pushy.
The scroll.
The button has been the pushy. All right, so let me see. I think we are
hold
good.
on.
Let me
The YouTube.
Let me check and make sure we are broadcasting the signal.
We're good.
Yeah, we are. So it says we have an excellent connection of all things, and
you and
it
me,
appears
buddy.
that we are broadcasting out to the interwebs. So now we just got to share the link so that people know we're streaming, since YouTube is like really super shitty at sending notifications. So click this and
gotta set up the if this then that thing.
Yeah, I know that would be the smart thing to do. Didn't they start charging for that?
For some stuff, yeah. Like I think there's like advanced features, but for the most part, like it's pretty decent.
Oh, so they still offer like some free stuff. Yeah, somebody told me a long time ago. I just stopped using it because somebody was like, "Oh yeah, they're like charging for shit now." I was like, "Oh man, bait and switch. Here we go again. You know, build up a huge customer base because it's a free product, and then turn on the paywall."
Right.
That's what they all do.
No, because like I like the one.
Oh my god.
Dude, look at your audio is weird.
Oh, wait, is it right now?
Are we there?
I don't know. Like every once in a while, like you go quiet,
and
then it
crashed.
comes out.
Oh, great.
Oh, you're good.
David.
What's up, David?
David. What's up, D-Dog?
Apparently, I've crashed. Hang on a second.
What?
Part of Tech Talk.
I thought you stopped using the Mac.
Thank you.
Yeah, right? I thought he was forbidden to use the Mac. I thought we made that like abundantly clear.
Skype, isn't it? God damn it.
Yep, Skype's fighting him. Skype's fighting him. That's what Skype will do. All right, I'm going to put here. Let's see here. Tech Talk is live now. There we go. All right, sending that out. Let's tweet that. I'm going to go over and dump it on the old Facebooks. Whoa. Whoa.
Ha!
Whoa.
How?
David, you got to turn your gain down, buddy. Got to turn your gain down just a little bit.
Really?
Your volume level is like 9,000.
Yeah, man.
Is it really? Why is it doing that?
I feel like he was attacking us. I feel like he was screaming into my soul.
I know, right?
Why is it so loud, though?
I don't know.
Like you whispering. It's like it's like 1,000 volume.
Yeah, it's very loud.
I could probably turn you down on my side if you need me to. Let me see if I can do that here. More options
from the mixer.
Let's see. Additional control.
I don't have a mixer.
Oh, the volume you so in the toolbar near you're on the Windows, right? There should be down by the clock. There's like the normal like system volume slider, but in there somewhere should be another little icon that kind of looks like a speaker. Right click on that, go to audio devices. It'll bring up a little dialog box with all of your different stuff. Under the tab recording, should have your inputs. From there, select the one that's being really loud and turn it down.
But which is being so loud? I don't understand why it's doing this.
Yeah.
Is it still really loud? Crazy loud?
A little. Maybe you're just being very quiet.
Did you find the slider to turn the gain down?
No. No, I feel like it's being hijacked by Skype again.
I mean, I turned it down myself.
We can still hear you and see you, so I don't think Skype's got anything.
Yeah.
Which microphone are you using?
Sorry, it's
Oh, he said Skype's hijacking this audio. Us talking.
Oh, he cannot hear us.
He cannot hear us.
I'm doing my mix now. Okay. Hang on, it's okay.
It's interesting. It's interesting this is happening because Epos Vox just put out a video yesterday or the day before, like 3 big steps on fixing your stream audio.
How's that for my microphone?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, I see. Wait a second.
There we go. You sound fine now.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's because Skype was using the webcam sound.
Oh,
and blasting the shit out of. Look at that! I'm so out of practice. I can't even figure out how to get. Oh, Grandpa can't figure out how to use the magic box.
Don't feel bad, David. I technically do this for a living, and I don't think I've ever had a live stream where it wasn't the first half an hour's technical issues while people are wandering in.
That's not true. We've had at least 2 where everything was perfect.
Yeah, without me, probably.
Oh, somebody's
the ones without me.
At me.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, you guys aren't hearing. It's me. Device issues, and I don't know what device it is, so it sounds like it's being plugged in and unplugged all the time.
Oh, is that why you cut out every once in a while? Because it's doing the
I think so.
Just unplug everything from your computer that is not necessary right now.
It's probably the mixer. Hang on.
I have like just reduced the number of things that can go wrong now to the point where not be working. But you know,
that's just smart, is what that is.
It is amazing. Slowly add complication.
Sorry, guys. Part of Tech Talk is the issues. You know,
it's the fun part.
Yeah, not the ones we talk about, just the issues in general.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna minimize.
We've all got issues.
We do. We definitely do.
I missed you guys, man. Fuck, it's been like
it's been a while.
Weeks. Yeah.
Go ahead, David.
I felt bad because I was like, I've wanted to join, but it's like I should. I mean, I haven't seen the kid in the family, so I have to spend some time. But, yeah. All right, we're going to YouTube. See what's going on.
I'm starting to wonder if I'm having problems. Okay, so is it OBS Ninja on my side doing weird stuff here?
Oh, am I dropping out as well?
Yeah, every once in a while it'll it's almost like OBS Ninja like locks up for a couple of seconds, then it comes back and then the audio's like blah, 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 and even
that's what you just did that. Yeah, you just did that.
I think
suddenly you sped up and went all.
Yep. I think it just did it again.
Right
there.
Seriously freaking out.
Just did it again.
How you feeling, Jerry?
I'm surviving.
How's the back and all. Yeah,
the back is killing me. It's the worst it's been so far. I'm just waiting to go in and get 2 more shots into my back. They told me I can't take Tylenol anymore because my liver enzyme levels are way up, and they're worried about that. So,
do you switch to Advil or something?
I'm allergic to all NSAIDs, like deathly allergic. So Tylenol was the only thing I could take, and now I can't even take that. So I'm like, oh god, sucks to be me. But it's all right. Hopefully, once I get the shots, it'll make things a lot better. It usually does for at least like 45 days or so. You know what? I almost wonder if we should we just kill Skype? Do you think Skype's probably messing with us right now?
I think I'm good. Are we okay?
I think we're good. I mean, we haven't had another hiccup yet, but
it sounds okay to me. I mean,
I don't know. What do you guys think? Chat. Can we get a mic check? Is everything working? We good?
ABC symbolist.
Aluminum linoleum.
Ooh, I can't even say that. Aluminum. I'm a freaking actor. I can't say that.
Aluminium linoleum.
Speaking of acting, David, like you said, you've been gone for a while, man. So you're working again. Huh?
It's been great. But it's been kind of insane. Like I'm even now I'm like struggling to speak because there's been so much yelling and screaming and riding horses and all sorts of. It's been so cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say your voice does sound hoarse, like you've been screaming at the top of your lungs for a couple days.
It's literally hoarse because I've actually been on the back of a horse the entire time too. So yeah,
like for work or for fun?
Yeah, no, for work. It's been everyone's like so sick of me on set because I'm like, isn't this fun? They're all like, yeah, we're like really hot. It's sweaty and gross, and I'm like, I'm riding a horse. I've just been having like the best time, and they look after us incredibly. I mean, we're working for Apple, right? So, and they just. Man, they look after us. They look after us.
What do you mean working for Apple?
Yeah, well, how's this work?
It's C. It's the show C, and it's Apple Studios are the ones who are doing it. SEE. Yeah, it's check that trailer out. Dude, I just saw the trailer for season 2. It's freaking cool.
Drama series C.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of.
Oh, you're working with Momoa again?
I'm working with I got Momoa, I got Dave Bautista. Yes.
What?
Yes.
Well, you got Aquaman and Drax working together? Holy crap, dude.
And then they've got Evil Nerdville and me.
That's so cool.
I'll get you guys. You think you're so smart with your big muscles?
You're the filling in the Oreo on that one.
Your muscles cannot stand my superior intellect.
Hey, yeah. We got 20 pounds.
20 pounds. Holy crap. That's like serious money.
That's what I gained last week. All right, let's see what we got here. Hey, CeeLo Cubed. Great name, by the way. Thank you for the 20 pounds and kicking off the super chats today. We really appreciate it. And hello to you and everybody else today. I think stuff's actually, we've got 182 people in here, so people are still kind of pouring in.
I'm back to drag you down.
Yeah, we got David back in the house.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, I miss these guys. It's been one of those things that like Saturday mornings have just been like the only time to get stuff done. Like Saturday and stuff, because I like my call time on Monday is like, get this, 4 a.m. Whew.
Oh my
So
god, dude.
So I get picked up at 4 a.m. to be in a forest in northern Ontario for
Do you
5
just
or
look half
whatever.
asleep? Do you just look half asleep through the whole shooting? Like when we watch the show when it comes out on Apple TV, are you just gonna look
It's
like
just gonna
somebody who
be-
suffers from narcolepsy?
Dude, you're not even gonna wreck it. It's insane. So I've got the people who know me before I go into makeup, and I've got the people who know me after I go into makeup. So all the
this
people.
is a big transition.
Oh yeah, it's pretty big.
Will we recognize you? Like, is it recognizable?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
you'll
right.
recognize all my nerdly twitchings, but it's really funny because like there's a couple of drivers who I wave at them during the day and they're like, whatever, and then they're like, hey Dave, how you doing? And when you come out of makeup, they're like, dude, you look tired. I'm like, oh yeah, I was waving at you and talking to you all day, right?
That's
hilarious. Yeah, so.
Do they after shooting? Do they take your makeup off, or do you actually like wear it back and take it off yourself?
Yeah. Oh no, they take it off. Are you kidding?
Okay.
Like I would probably remove like a layer of like it is. Like they put it's like 2 hours of makeup, and then and it's got to stay on. Like we're outside. It's being close to 40 degrees, and like I'm wearing like full leather armor and all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
It's that thing's got to stick to your face, like despite my great sweaty.
With all the humidity and everything.
But it's Celsius then 40 degrees. So it's
oh, sorry,
hot as fuck.
It's really
that's like 105. That's insane.
That's way too hot.
It's been like crazy hot. It's the humidity is the big. Like honestly, dry heat I'll take any day. Like, a little breeze, you're fine. But when it's, I mean, I don't think it actually hit 40, but it was like it feels like 40 with the freaking humidity. So
yeah, same here. I'll take like I don't like it, but yeah, a dry heat totally like Arizona or Las Vegas, totally fine.
Yeah, just put on a fan.
Florida,
you're fine.
It's like kill me. Florida's like kill me. I went there once when it was like 100% humidity at like 105 degrees, and I had never felt so gross in my entire
life. And it's like I had no idea I had so many places that sweat could pool. This poor horse is like I'm like, is it possible to sweat through a saddle? And they're like, no, I think that's the horse sweating. I was like, I don't think it is.
Well, David, that's why you got to work out a whole bunch. You get those, get the gutters. You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
right.
it channels all the sweat down to one location. Yeah,
I got one look. I got one look at Jason. I'm like, no, I'll leave the working out to Jason. I think
you're like, all right, David. In this scene, you got to take your shirt off, and you're like, no.
For a guy who plays so laid back, there's a lot of working out to do to get that.
Oh no! Did you ever watch? Did you ever watch the YouTube series that Dwayne Rock Johnson did, where on his routine that he does every single day, like whether he's shooting, whether he's on vacation, it doesn't matter. He literally has them move his entire workout setup to everything, and it's giant.
Yeah,
it's like
Jason's got these giant. What are they called? The kettlebells or something?
Yeah.
Kettlebells. Yeah, I like kettlebells.
Oh yeah, he's also got all other. I mean, he's just got tons of stuff going, and I'm not allowed to yell at him for making a lot of noise anymore either, because he's like the star of the show, right?
Yeah. No, the Rock actually when he's shooting and he's like getting ready to shoot, because he has to prepare like months before. He goes and he works out like 3 times a day, and each workout session is like 4 hours long. Like he basically just works out and eats. That's all he does.
Yeah,
all day long.
Jason.
And then every 2 weeks he has a cheat day where he still works out, but then he eats whatever he wants. Like he'll eat like large pizzas.
That's the only thing I follow. I just watch.
Yeah, like his epic meals, right? Like The Rock's epic meals. They're awesome.
I have no interest in all of the stuff he's doing to actually get fit, but those cheat days, I'm just like, wow.
You're like, man, this guy, I want to be him on that day every day.
That's it. Only once a week, I want to be Rock.
Yeah, he said during the week, though, he eats, what is it, like tilapia with extra fish oil added and like a protein powder, and it's all just stirred together into like a mush. And every 2 hours, he has to eat, they open the fridge, like on the set where he shoots, and it's just all these little boxes, like little Tupperware boxes, and he just pulls one out every 2 hours, whips the lid off, and just shovels it in. He said it tastes like absolute shit. He doesn't like it, but it's like that's what it takes. He's like, that's how you keep that muscle mass on or whatever, is with that fish oil and stuff like that. And I was like, man, wouldn't that suck? Like God. For like 2 weeks, you're basically just shoveling this this one thing into you that's just got everything. It's basically just if you drink protein shakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he has like one solid meal a day that's like low calorie, high protein. Yeah. And then every 2 weeks he does the cheat day. But he claims the cheat day is like necessary. Like you have to have that one day of massive carb loading, otherwise your body will fall off. Like it's not just because he needs that day to like keep going. It's like that's actually beneficial to him and like his regimen and what he's doing. I'm like, wow, eating like he said, man, the stuff
the pancakes, the stacks of pancakes, and then
I didn't even believe it when I saw it. Like he eats what was it? He ate 13 pizzas, 13 pizzas like in one day.
I could do that.
What?
All right.
Look, I've mastered the cheat day, no problem. It's just all the other days that I've got to work on.
Hey, we're going for a different body type there, David. There's enough of them muscular ripped dudes out there that need to eat every 2 hours. I prefer to be the guy that doesn't have to eat for like a month and I'll still survive. Yeah,
you try to compete with the guys who look like they could drop dead any second, huh?
Yeah, dude, I'll tell you what, The Rock, he doesn't eat for like 8 hours. He collapses on the ground and dies and basically just dies because he just doesn't have enough caloric intake. Me, I could go on Naked and Afraid, find a water source and just sit there and drink it for 30 days. And they'd just come in and haul me off and I'd be like 40 pounds lighter.
You and me, Naked and Afraid. That would be us.
Dude,
that's the way we'd go.
That'd be the most boring episode ever. It's basically just an entire episode of us like sitting from a tree and only moving 5 feet away.
Well, to be fair, we would be moving because we'd be trying to get Wi-Fi signal the whole time.
That is true. That is true. Like, what is the one thing you brought for survival? An iPhone.
Because I've got like no reception out there, right? So we're like out so far that there's not a lot of, even when you do get like even just cell reception is like barely any good for actually connecting to anything. So it's this weird, like the last few weeks, I just feel like I've been completely out of touch with everything. It's kind of nice, actually. There's something kind of nice about just going like, I have no idea what's happening in the world. Like, no idea. All I know is that I know when my horse is hungry. I know when my horse is tired. And I know when my horse is peeing during my close-up. You know what I mean? Like,
that's hilarious. Are we gonna see a horse in the future, like roaming around in your backyard now? Like, are you in fact, are you an equestrian enthusiast now?
I never thought I would say this, but I would totally do that. I am. But to be fair, we have like the guys who do the train again, like everything these Apple guys are doing. Like they've got like the best of the best. They've hired this guy from Alberta who is like the horse whisperer, and he is flown around the world training people's horses. Like getting the horses to do crazy things in front of cameras, or like he trained a horse to do the Grand Canyon glass walk.
Oh, jeez!
You try to talk a freaking animal into walking onto a glass platform.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't even do it.
He's got like all these crazy like world records and stuff, and then he gets stuck with me. You know, I'm stuck and I can't get off the horse. Although I did learn this really cool one the other day. They don't like me doing it because I'm going to hurt myself. But so you're sitting on a horse, right? So here you are. You're sitting on the horse. Here's the horse. You swing your leg over and then just slide down the side of it. Yeah. It looks so cool.
Yeah,
so
surprisingly, cool. We had horses growing up. Like that was a big part of my childhood.
My grandparents did. Yeah,
and they were. But the problem was we were poor people, so we didn't have like the nice horses. We had the horses that were being sent to the glue factory that my mom was trying to save.
That was my grandparents.
Yeah,
my grandparents did exactly the same thing.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, because they all bit, they all bucked and kicked and stuff. Like it was literally an occupational hazard, like being around and riding these things.
They're like more pets than actual like horses to ride.
And then the problem was, as soon as they got good enough that they were actually like a reliable horse that you could jump on and ride, then that's when you give them away. Because my mom just wanted to get them to the point where she could rehome them because nobody would take them because they'd bite and buck and stuff like that. Nobody wants a horse like that. So she'd take them out and train them, do the what do they call it? The not whip training. It's like where they run them in a circle. I can't remember what it's called, but you run them in a circle and you basically just get them to obey. You basically take control and then they start respecting you. And she'd do that for like, it'd take like 2-3 months per horse. And then we'd finally get on it and start riding it, buck us off a half dozen times and like bust us up and bruise us. But then it'd finally settle down and it would start like being ride and start liking the attention. And then as soon as she did that, she like put an ad in the little nickel and be like, come pick up your free horse.
Oh, dude, that's
my grandparents used to. They used to adopt horses that had broken their legs or snapped a tendon or something.
Yeah.
So they're useless. They basically just be put down, and they would just keep them. And they'd have because they had this, like my grandmother during the war found an artist's shack at the top of this hill of chalk in Kent, where you couldn't grow anything, right? So it's surrounded by farms. No one wanted this land because you can't grow anything on a lump of chalk, right?
Yeah.
So she has this really nice big property, which is useless for anything basically, except maybe horses. And they just built this house, and then none of the daughters ever left. The house just kept getting bigger and bigger as the houses. Cool. It's really cool. My dad left. He was like, "I'm out of here." It's like I'd like running water, please. But they had horses. So whenever every summer we'd go back and they'd throw us on a horse and I'd hate it. And they trained them. They also, my uncle would build traps. He would build, like horse traps, like for riding, those little, so they would train horses to use them. And so we were around horses all the time.
I've never jumped a horse intentionally. I've had a horse jump unintentionally though, and I came flying off the damn thing. But because I tried to get it to go through like a little creek. We had a creek on our property, and the path would go through the creek. And it's only a creek that's like maybe, I don't know, 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide, like not big, like something you just walk through, right? If you had wellies on. And the horse approached it and it stopped. And I thought it was going to buck me off and not go. But no, it reared back and jumped the creek with me on it. And I wasn't expecting it when it did it. So I just went flying up. The horse goes across. I'm just like hovering in the air and I came down on my ass right in the creek.
Just landed in the creek.
Yeah, and I lucked out. The horse stayed. Like I thought for sure the horse was going to run. This is an open property. So if that horse is gone, like we're going to find it on the freeway a mile that way, hit by a car or something like that. But luckily the horse, after it jumped and I fell off, it just stood there.
These are just these are beautifully trained the same way. Like they're trained for idiots like me to ride. Like I'm convinced they're like, oh, you're doing a really good job. I was like, shut up. The horse is doing everything. Like it's like how do I go right? And it just like it'll go right. It's like
horses are kind of magical. Like when you're if you're just seeing them for like the first time, it's like okay, man. But it's like,
and they're scary.
With them, they're cool. Oh, they are scary because they can kill you in a second, dude.
Oh my god, they just choose to keep you alive.
Yeah, it's like everybody I know that raises horses. It's always like some 100-pound soaking wet lady who's like walking around the back and hitting them on the wethers and and brushing their tail. And I'm just cringing every time I see that.
Oh god, like, man, I get nowhere near the rear end.
Our horses would kick the shit out of us if we did that. Yeah. Like, and people don't realize horses can like side kick. Like they don't just kick back; they can side kick. So you think you're safe if you're alongside them? No,
or even just give you a little boom, and you're like, "Wee!"
Yeah, I had a horse literally nail me in the nuts with its front leg. I'm like, "What is?" Okay, they can rear up, right? So you hold them down. So you got the little harness and you hold them down with the rope, the bit, and they won't rear up. And you're like, "Okay, cool. I'm in front. I got them held down. There's nothing they can do to me." And then they'll lift their front leg and just like whack you. Yeah, they'll flick it at you and just whack you with their front leg. And I'm like, what the hell is this shit? Like ninja horse.
We did one take where the horse in front of me decided to back up, and it backed up. So my horse is like, well, fuck this, and sort of moved sideways to sort of for parallel park or something. I don't know what it was doing. But of course that means that it's just like me and this like giant horse's ass crushing my leg. I'm like, the villain is gonna cry.
I know one ride I went on at a place called Leavenworth down here. It was the last time I've ever been on a horse. I haven't been on a horse
like the prison.
10 years. I know it's same name, same name, but it's like a little Bavarian town here in Washington State. And
you're getting sent to Leavenworth. Oh, great!
Yeah, no, seriously, right? It's like it's just a weird name for a town, but they had this riding experience that was like through Groupon, and we go and get the horses at this place and they bring them out to you. They basically match you to a horse, right? Based on like your size and everything like that. They'll bring you out anything from like a Shetland pony to a giant horse. Well, for me, they brought out this horse called Terminator. His name was Terminator, and he was a draft horse that stood so much taller than every other horse on the property. They had to bring a box over so that I could stand on the box just to get my foot up into the strap to get over this thing.
That's how we get on.
Oh, well, because
otherwise, it's tough on the horse, right? It's tough on the horse if you're to stand in the saddle and then pull yourself up. For like with me, it's like 220 pounds of I was like, fucking actors.
What kind of horses are you guys riding? Do you know? Are they like draft horses or are they
four legs?
Like, four legs. Okay. Do they have any like really frilly bits coming off the bottom of their feet?
There's a whole mix, like because we've got it's like at one point we had like. Was it 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? There were probably 12 horses in a seed once. I mean, that was like it's nuts. It's like full on. Like I've never wanted to do a Western in my life. I want to do a Western now. Like it's like
it'd be fun.
Western for Apple. I wouldn't want to do a low budget Western. I'd be dead in a minute.
Yeah, this horse they put me on called Terminator though, and it's funny because he was the sweetest horse they had, but they gave him a badass name because he was so big. And so I was riding with a party. My wife was on a different horse. And then we had, I think, like 4 or 5 other people in our party. And all these horses know how to follow each other. Like they know the path. They know everything. Like the person doesn't have to do anything. They stick you on the horses. They start you at the beginning of the trail. And there's one horse at the front that like knows where it's going. And the rest of the horses like follow it religiously. Right. So you don't have to do anything. You're not steering the horse. The horse is ignoring you. You're just basically on the horse going for a nice like couple mile ride. Right. Terminator, though, this horse that I'm on, he made the most horrendous, scary noise ever when he was going downhill. It sounded like, have you ever heard like a diesel truck when it's going downhill where it goes, every other horse was like perfectly quiet as it was descending down hills. But whenever we were descending down hills, Terminator's like, and you saw like big blasts of air coming out of his nostrils. And I'm like, am I killing this horse? Is this horse dying? And they're like, no, you're not even close to the weight this horse can handle. Like they're like, he's just a big boy. He makes a lot of noise. But I was like scared, man. I was scared. I'm on top of this horse because it's way taller than other horses. Like if this thing bucked me off, I'd probably break something just hitting the ground, right?
Right.
And so that was a scary experience for me. But I did enjoy it. Like at the end when everything was all good and I knew I wasn't going to die, I was like, good job, Terminator. But I had no idea when we were going on this ride they were going to take us up like steep hills and down steep hills. Like
that's the tough thing.
Yeah.
And they like to speed up when they're going up. They like to sort of do a little because like anyone, like you're walking up a hill, sometimes you want to get a little bit of and they'll get going, and you're like,
and you're just a passenger. It's like you don't get to make that decision. They're like, no, if we feel like we need to do this to get over, like the horse jumping the stream, it's just freaky.
Ox, have you ridden? Have you ridden?
No.
Riding? I could see you liking that.
Yeah, I mean, their horses make me nervous. They're so big.
They do. They honestly, even working with them as a kid and everything, they still make me nervous to this day. When I'm around them, I don't trust them.
Like they're cool, and I know they're fairly like docile and stuff. They're like
giant dogs to me. They're like giant dogs. They're like you never know. They're still you still think like you got to be sort of slightly respectful of them. But honestly, the ones we've got are so trained. They're like, we like this horse is standing there while we're being attacked by like 20 people with swords and stuff, and it's just like, we done yet?
Yeah, like, can imagine horses that are working around actors and stuff. They probably train them like the police do, where they like fire off loud noises and stuff around them so that they don't get spooked.
What's funny is the guy I'm working with is a police officer as well.
Oh, is he really?
This guy who plays my sort of my second in command type guy. He's a police officer and an actor. He's freaking huge. He's like 7 feet tall. And it took me like 2 days to get a laugh out of him, but he's fantastic. Just this great guy, completely stoic, like exactly what you would imagine a cop would look like. You know what I mean?
Like a caricature of a cop.
Oh yeah,
like
he's just like this huge guy. They're like, you want me to get on the horse? He just like steps over it. You know what I mean? Like it's like
he just spreads his legs and the horse just walks under him. Then he sits down.
Yeah. And we have these scenes where it's like, it's like he's like killing people and throwing them over because he does stunt stuff as well. And he's like snapping people's necks and breaking them and throwing them over the horse. And I'm like, stop. That's I've got my one line. They're like, oh, David, you said it too early. I'm like, oh, sorry. He's like, fuck.
Oh my gosh. Like every take for him is literally a workout. And for you, it's just like, stop.
It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't like the way that sounded. Let me say it again. Stop. Yeah.
I think I blinked.
Yeah. Was that okay? I don't know. Is that? Yeah.
Do you guys, I've always wondered this. Do actors ever troll each other on set where they'll actually throw away a take on purpose just to irritate another cast member?
Oh God. I mean, Jason's notorious for that because Jason's like just loves pranking people, right? He's not with us now. Like he's gone back to, I guess Atlantis or something. He's going back to Aquaman.
Another one of the,
so we shot the whole
movies.
So we've shot all of his stuff out. Coming. Yeah. Oh, we allowed to oh God, have I just screwed that up?
I mean, it's kind of a given. Like, I don't think you're really like.
No, the MCU has every movie for like the next 27 years already laid out.
I just want to say, the new Suicide Squad is killer.
I didn't like it that much.
I like the new one way better than the last one. The first one.
It's on HBO Max.
Oh man,
it's on HBO Max.
It is. It's really good.
You have to pay like $50 for it or something.
No, it's free on. They don't do that crap Disney Plus does. Like if it releases on HBO Max at the same time as the theatrical release,
because I've got HBO Max here. I just need my whatever it's called.
I liked it. It's kind of funny. It's got a good story pacing and stuff.
It's got Doctor Who in it.
I can't believe they got Peter Capaldi to do that role. Yeah. That is awesome. I will tell you this. I'm not saying that I hated it. I'm just saying it fell for a lot of the same like things that people complained about in the first movie. But I will say this, it is better than the first movie. It is way better than the first movie. And Idris Elba is a much better, sharpshooter personality than Will Smith was in the first one.
100%.
That first movie was so weird.
But I will tell you this, it just does a lot of like, if you're into like really just random, no way in a million years could you predict like this happening stuff, it'll give you that. I couldn't call anything throughout the entire movie. It is so random in its application, without any spoilers. It's just so random in like what they do. Everything comes unexpected. Like you're like, what the shit just happened?
Well, surprises are nice because I
thought some of the twisties were pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, that was what I liked most about the movie. I just didn't like the like the boss battle or whatever, like at the end.
Yeah,
I felt like that was a
see where
little like
that's-
cheese ball as hell.
I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done on the big action movie. I mean, for some reason, I know that I feel weird saying that because I've always loved them, but now I'm like, whatever.
Dude, it's so like gory too. If you like gore,
like, is it? Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Oh, it's like very gory.
Oh, have you guys seen Freaky?
No, what's that?
Oh, you want to see that? It's Freaky Friday done as like a 1970s horror movie.
I want to check that out.
It's good. It's funny. It's
Vince Vaughn is the slasher, and then he swaps bodies with like the hot cheerleader. Yeah.
Okay, I need to see that. That sounds amazing.
It's cute. It's funny. It's silly. And there's some gore in it. Like there's some old school, like, I
love the over the top, like fire hose coming off the sliced arm kind of thing, or like chunky gibs.
Oh my god, no, it's
over
like
the
serious.
top. I love that stuff.
Yeah, like I don't think they even used digital effects. I think it was like all just like big rubbery arms and legs, and
that was the other problem I had with the new Suicide Squad is it looked overly CGI. Like a lot of the effects that they did, you could tell that they rushed. Like a lot of it was really good. There was some scenes in it where I like legitimately I had to look away, like, oh god, that's gross. But there was also a lot of stuff that I saw that just the CGI just wasn't right. It didn't look right. It looked.
We're getting so savvy on that stuff too, right? I mean, like you just can't do. It's funny. I was talking to the director actually on set the other day, and he was saying that it used to be he had to explain things to the crew, like how we were gonna do this. Yeah. And now he just goes like, oh, it's so remember this? And they're like, oh yeah, from that movie. Got it. Okay. And they all go off and they set it up. And it's everyone's like so savvy on this stuff now.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I hope it doesn't become a lot more common, but like when I just watched this really neat thing about like virtual production, and it was like
with the Unreal Engine and everything.
Yeah, it was like one of the creative directors working with like Mandalorian and stuff, right?
Right.
And I think we're in a weird transition period because like I feel like we're coming out of a period where directors and whatnot, or whoever it is that makes those decisions, have like relied on CGI to like cover up things, or like, oh, we'll just fix it in post, kind of a mentality. But now with like some of this more virtual production stuff, they're having the VFX guys on set, like or even part and really being involved in like previs and stuff where and they're able to make these changes kind of on the fly, in almost in real time, and it makes it a lot better. Like the previs stuff is almost exactly what you end up in the final product, and like it's really neat.
Because we did Rise of the Planet of the Apes, they had all of it previs. So you'd go they go, what are we shooting? And they would bring in an iPad and you'd look at the scene basically. And then you go, oh, because you want me to run and wave my arms and all that. So it was great because you knew exactly what was happening and they could get the effects exactly right and all that kind of stuff. But there's something that I found that starts to happen is that we're not good at, we can't plan everything.
Right.
Like, stuff that makes life and films interesting are those weird little accidents, those weird little foibles and wobbles and that stuff. And I'm hoping that the digital stuff is getting good enough now that we could start doing that, like making little mistakes, putting little things in there to make it more real. I honestly, I think a lot of these films like the Suicide Squad and stuff, they might as well just freaking animate it. Eventually, like, what's the point?
Well, and that's an interesting, it just kind of popped in my head. Is like sometimes like Disney redoing all of their animated films in live action, right? Or like, and like Lion King is I think a good example of this. Is like they didn't do a very good job of, like, they made it too real.
Yeah.
Right. And there are some things that are meant to be animated. Like I don't think you couldn't do Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as well if it were all live action.
Yeah.
It would have come off weird, and because they'd have to have done so much CGI that it's like, well, why didn't you just fucking animate it anyway?
Well, that's what I feel about that's what I feel about like the Avengers and stuff. Sorry, I've cut you off. Go.
No, you're right though. But man, they did a good job. I think Marvel and Disney is doing a great job because
I love Mandalorian.
There's a lot that you don't notice. My favorite one is the scene in Endgame where they're walking to the time portal thing and they're all in their white and red outfits.
And they change the suits.
CG outfit. They look real.
But that's my thing. Is just like I don't want to see them having acting scenes. I don't give a crap about like, oh, I was defeated as a child. I was like, shut up and fight. Like it's just like they're not. You're not watching those movies for like the comic book dialogue.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, so just animate them. Say like if those actors want to do like I'm all for watching films with actors, that'll be great. But if you're going to do action, there's that obvious transition every time where it's like you close up of a human face and then you're into like this weird physics defying, effect stuff. And I just think it almost makes it like with like you say, Spider-Verse, everything was seamless. Even though they changed animation styles, it was seamless because you're already in there,
So good.
No, I think
and it loses that uncanny valley thing that you get into.
Totally. Yeah, there is no uncanny valley, right? When you're in animation, so it's like, like you were saying with Lion King, it's like when you get too close to like reality, it starts kind of messing with your brain. You don't really focus on the story, and you don't really.
It starts getting creepy. Yeah, you're like talking animals. You're like, I don't like that.
You're like, oh, this is a little too real. Like that's a little cringe, man.
There's a way to do it well. I think there is a way to do it well where you can get emotive with your photorealistic animals without going real weird. Like there's actually I'm totally stealing these examples from Corridor Digital. I just recently watched
they're amazing, aren't they? I love
videos. And so that's what's top of mind right now. But they brought up the difference between Mowgli, which was like a Netflix production versus
or Mowgli, as we would say in England, but yes,
Mowgli, or versus the Jungle Book, which was like the live action redo of the animated film. And where one of the things they point out is they like pasted human eyes onto the animals in Mowgli, and there's that point where you can still have like unrealistic emotion in an animal face that's still like appropriate, where like Lion King there was like no emotion because they tried to keep it like a real animal,
right?
Like Mowgli's like,
did Mowgli work better?
It's humans. No. Jungle Book was like their example of how to do it right. It's like you can add a little bit more humanity to the faces without cut and pasting human eyes onto an animal.
That's why Pixar is so smart, right? Is that they have the ability to make perfectly human, realistic animation stuff, but they've sort of gone, where do I stop? Where do we get to a point where we can personify these people? I can connect with them, but I'm not going like, what the fuck? This is weird.
They've perfected that they're right to the edge. Like we're not going to go into the valley, but we're right there. We're looking into it.
And movie stars are unreal anyways, right? We don't want our movie stars to be real. We want them to have perfect abs. We want them to have like perfect faces and perfect skin and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, to talk about digital makeup, I mean, like that's something else. I mean, like it's amazing how, you can see, you look at some of the older films and you realize, oh my God, like there's that, they got a lot of marks on their face. And then all of a sudden CG pops in and it becomes cheap enough to go like,
look, Tom Cruise got younger.
They're perfect. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that kind of stuff. It's fascinating though. I love what is. I think it's actually kind of exciting times for it. I also, I mean, I feel like crazy lucky right now because we're on the cusp between these two things. Like, so normally the stuff I do doesn't have the budget that Jason's show has on Apple, and so. You get the resources are amazing. So there's a lot more real stuff that normally on the stuff that I would normally do, it would be like, okay, so sit on this big rubbery mat and pretend that you're on a horse. You know what I mean? Like, or whatever, instead we're actually on horses and stuff that it does make a difference. And it really feels like you feel like an old school filmmaker. Like it feels like we're really making something, arrows that actually take off and horses that actually buck and rear up and it's just I will miss that, but I know it's going. I know it's not going to be around for long.
Yeah, I honestly think we're gonna get to the point where it's just everything, like even if they shoot something in live action, it's all gonna be like picked apart and like digitally recomposed and mastered. in the computer. So even the live action scenes where they're recording the people, they're going to end up just being 3D models with texture maps over them so that they can more easily manipulate them and tweak them and stuff into other CGI scenes.
I mean, and imagine being able to create your own. I think even Corder might have mentioned this. I thought this, I was fascinated by this. The idea of like, what if you had, you made a Superman film, and then no matter where you released it, you digitally create a character that is perfect for that region of the world. So you have a Chinese Superman in the same movie that there is an Indian Superman or it's just like how weird would that be? And also how it's kind of exciting because you could even choose who you wanted. Yeah. Like, you know what? I'd like a female Superman or whatever. Like, I think there's going to be a certain amount of flexibility in that stuff going forward.
If you think about with all the technology we have right now, like if it wasn't like a licensing barrier, it would be fairly simple with the current technology and face swapping, real-time face swapping with the current GPU hardware generation. You could make movies where you could swap your likeness directly into the movie, like as a part of the menu before you watch it. So you're like, I want to be Aquaman. I want to be Iron Man. I want my wife to be Black Widow. And you select those options and you just use your cell phone to do the scatter of your face or whatever, and then it transfers it on the character in real time, and then you can rewatch all your movies with like your friends and family and shit. Like your grandma could be Iron Man if you wanted to.
But imagine from a marketing standpoint what that would do. Could you imagine if you could get it? So you watch someone watching a movie or a commercial, and you go, okay, I'm going to take a few traits from this guy's face, and I'm going to incorporate it into my ad to make this person more likable, more accepting, or make it look like your mom, or make it look like. Like, could you imagine like marrying the kind of the search abilities on the internet with the ability to instantly reconfigure characters so that they all of a sudden are more endearing because they have actual traits that you're seeing when they show you the film? I mean, that would be, man, talk about a new level of marketing. That is awesome.
Yeah, I think in the future it's like, all actors will just be voice actors and all the characters will be like meta generated and stuff so that they don't have any ties or royalties to the original actor. It's gonna be like super scammy also. I mean, it'll be cool, but it'll also be super scammy. But I do think it'd be cool even to retroactively go back to old movies, right? And be able to change the characters like faces, change their ethnicities, change everything, like to completely retweak and make it like
Tarantino out of every one of his movies.
There you go. And with all the voice synthesis stuff that they have, you could even change the voices of the characters. So you could do a voice training profile for yourself. Like, you have your app, you pay your little licensing fee to the movie house. So swear you're not going to distribute it, right? Just because that'd be piracy. Record your face or whatever, and then transfer your face and your voice into the character and have all those same inflections and everything. It sound and look just like you or a friend or something like that in the movie. And I think that would be wild. I think that, could you imagine like going and watching Star Wars where you're like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo's like your brother? Like, I mean, it'd be a trip, especially if the voices were changed too.
The mask comes off Darth Vader and Google's already looked you up and found your grandfather's face and just puts a little bit of that on the face. So you're like, oh God, Grandpa, or what, I mean, like there's just like you could add a whole level of connection that would just be impossible otherwise, right?
Oh my gosh, this is what this is gonna end up doing is like screwing up every. What's that effect called where people remember something, like a group hallucination where people remember something a certain way but it wasn't.
Like the Mandela effect.
What's it called?
The Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect.
How people remember Bernstein Bears spelled differently.
Yeah, or Luke, I am your father, and he never said that.
He never said that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, or mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Never said that.
Right.
So it's like all these things people remember like as a group hallucination because a bunch of people remembered it a certain way and they spread it, and that just became the dominant way that people remembered it. And
so imagine if everyone who saw something was actually seeing something. Well, we are anyways, I suppose, to some extent.
How confusing would that get? Like everybody's like, oh no, David Hewlett played Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, you idiots. Like I've seen it a million times, or kids that didn't grow up and see the original, all they've ever seen is altered versions of it.
Right.
Like, hey, Mark Hamill's like, oh, I was Luke Skywalker. Like, who that? Mark who? Like what? Like, I could just see stuff like that happening. I think there's going to be a lot of confusion that comes out of this technology. Like with everything that's happening now, like I downloaded an app. I can't even remember what it's called on my phone. It's like $4 a week. I paid the $4 and it does real time deep fakes of your face on various other like.
Oh, like Refacer?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. Refacer. And it's
my God. I did all of, for some reason I was obsessed with becoming Carrie Fisher.
It does an amazing job. Like I was even selecting characters where it was like even altering like the skin tone of my entire face to make it fit perfectly. and the proportions and edges and everything. I'm like, it's doing this in near real time. I'm like, how the hell is this possible?
I made myself Aquaman.
I bet you did. Did you show it? Did you show it to old Momos?
No, I was going to post it and I didn't because I was like, you know what? I don't want to threaten him.
He could do a little damage, couldn't he? Hey, Will's Tech Top, thank you for the $5 super chat. We appreciate this. First time catching the stream live, can't stay, but we'll listen later. Love you guys. David, keep an eye out for the lemons. Boy, you are never going to outlive that citrus.
Never going to outlive the lemons.
Ever, man.
I got a lot of lemonade to make.
Everything you've done in your career, that's what you're going to remember.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It's like the whole saying, and this is a little bit graphic, but it's like you can build 1,000 bridges and suck one dick, and you won't be known as a bridge builder. You'll be known as a cocksucker. That's from a movie, and I cannot remember which movie it's from. It's like maybe it was Training Day. I think it was Training Day. But
oh my god, that's the second time Training Day's come up this week. I got to see that.
Hilarious. That's I think it's from Training Day. I'm not 100%, but when I heard that, it resonated with me because I'm like, it's true. It's like if you do something that's not common, that's what you'll be remembered for, no matter how much you did the thing that was more common. Like you will always be known for like the obscure thing. It's like you could spend your entire career being the best action movie star ever, and then like they find you like naked in a stall, passed out at a movie theater, and that's all you're known for the rest of your life.
Look at Bill Clinton. I mean, I don't remember anything he did politically.
Yeah, he's the stain guy. He's the stain guy and the cigar guy. That's it.
He's the cigar guy. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. That's all anybody knows him for. It's hilarious. CeeLo, I mean, it's not for him, obviously. Hey, CeeLo Cube, thank you for another 10 pounds. He said,
what?
$13.87 each. We'll make it easier to split unless YouTube takes their share of it. Well, YouTube will take their share of it, but that's just, we don't really have a choice in that because, YouTube is basically the mob. Which, it's all good. We love YouTube. Please don't hurt us. Please don't hurt us, YouTube. Oh my gosh.
What's going to replace YouTube? My son keeps saying there's going to be something else.
I've actually been hassling you. I've been sneaking in on your son's live streams and hassling him. And
he said he was
like, mod me.
He said he got the you got the chat really going, which was great.
I did. I was in there getting people all riled up.
I'm sorry. It's been so freaking early every morning. I've literally been like fast asleep and snoring by like 9 o'clock every night. It's ridiculous. It
was funny. Baz was getting his mom to fall for jokes on the stream, and she really wouldn't. She wasn't buying it. Like, the whole joke's like, oh, I have a friend with a small penis or whatever. He didn't say that one, but some variation of it's like, I have a friend with a small penis, and then your friend's supposed to go, who? And you're like, or sounds like an owl. That's what it is.
Oh, right. That's
right.
Like,
you've heard that joke, right? It's like, hey, I have a friend that has a really small penis and he sounds like an owl. And then your friend's like, who? You're like, it's you. And so he did some variation on that, and your wife wasn't falling for it. Like she was like, she kept saying the wrong thing, and then he kept leading her, and then she finally just starts going hoo in the background. He was just rolling his eyes, and I was sitting here just laughing.
She's so British. She doesn't fall for anything. That woman.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely hilarious.
Did he tell you about he's done his first day of work ever? He did his first day at the local comic book store, working at the local comic book store.
Oh, no kidding. You said something about he was going to start doing that, but he actually did it.
We had this huge freaking argument because there was like video games were being played and none of the things that he was supposed to get done were supposed to be done. And there was a bit of attitude and I freaking lost it. And I was like, that's it. You're going to camp. He's like, I don't want to go to camp. I was like, you're going to get a job. And so we had a chat about it and we figured out what he wanted to do. And he likes the idea of like comic books and Magic the Gathering cards and Pokemon cards and all that kind of stuff. So I said, I know the guy who runs the local comic book store because, I'm a nerd. He said, I said, look, only if it's of any use to you, I'll send him around. And he's out there like doing the pulls for people. Like he's pulling the comic books that everyone has. And he's learning all about what days they come out. And he's telling me all about apparently the codes on the comic book will tell you how many alternate covers there are and when it came out and what number. And I think he's actually enjoying it.
So he's doing the deep dive.
And he's working on their website, which will be interesting because he doesn't know anything about websites. So I think I'm going to be working on the website.
Sorry, web development's getting like so easy these days. Like you can drag and drop a pretty awesome website these days.
Well, and we're going to use WordPress, I think. Although, what I've been playing with, which is really cool, is that Python. What is it called? What is the? I can't remember what the Python. I don't know what it would be called. The code, whatever the code is that goes and gets stuff from websites for you. It's called API? What's it called?
Like an API?
But it's a specific library for Python that's great at basically scraping. It's like a scraper library,
crawler kind of thing, some sort of.
Yeah, so you can build your own crawlers. You can build your own, like it'll process and grab information. Because what I want to do is, I think we should find out what comic books. What's it called?
Linode or Linode?
Django. Beautiful Soup.
Oh, Beautiful Soup's good. Yeah, Beautiful Soup's great. I was looking at that too. There was another one though that's just a really basic. It's just a basic Python library that.
I'm embarrassed to say I've only ever written one thing in Python and I didn't go back to it. And it's unfortunate because it's a fantastic language.
It keeps popping up. So I keep sort of, these days just falling asleep trying to learn it.
Yeah, because Python's what I wrote the sleep number hack in. That's up. I uploaded it to GitHub.
Yeah.
If you have a crappy sleep number bed that just keeps deflating on you, yeah, I wrote code to like hack around that until they fix it. Up on GitHub. But that's the only thing I've ever written in Python. The reason I selected Python was just because I needed something that I could just rapidly develop. That was a script, a scripted language. I didn't want to use a compiled language. Yeah.
It's called requests. You think
requests. Okay.
Yeah. It's just basically just for processing HTTP stuff. So
yeah, I wrote something called Spiderweb back in the day when I worked at Microsoft that used regular expressions to follow every website out to every link that website linked to, but never hit the same website twice. So basically, it would just, you started at a URL and find all the hyperlinks and then follow them out one level. And then you can set how many levels you wanted to go deep without recursing back on itself.
And the next thing you've done is you've created a worm and you're going
basically, and it had regular expression support, but I ended up retiring the tool because we ran it in the lab and there was KVM switches that would switch between each computer so you could briefly see what was on the screen. And the problem is if you go to any website, doesn't even matter if you start at Microsoft.com, if you go 7 levels deep, you will find porn.
Oh, really?
Every single time I ever ran it in the lab over 24 hours when we came in, or not even 24 hours, like 12 hours, we'd come in the morning and we'd walk into the lab and every third screen on the KVM would have porn on it. And we'd start them all from a different website that was a Microsoft property. So either Bing.
All the developers are like, I don't know how it happened.
Yeah. And so we just had to turn it off because the screens would cycle through all the computers and there was no way for it not to be visible. And people could come in that lab and walk around. They just didn't want that up on the screens. And I couldn't guarantee that wouldn't happen because, again, the nature of the tool is to find new sites and new links and follow them out. And there's no way for me. I mean, I could add things to a blacklist as they go, but there were so many of them. There was no way I could have blacklisted.
Oh, God. And they change on a daily basis, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. So I ended up just like retiring. I still have the source code for it. It was for like .NET 2.0. I should like upgrade it to .NET 5 and run it today and see because it could find cool stuff. Like you could just
create a massive like online repository of porn. You could create your own porn hub.
You could configure it. Like I added settings to it where it could later on, not for the Microsoft incarnation, but for my own personal incarnation, it could pick up any file type. You could dictate the size, the dimensions, the color depth, like all kinds of stuff you could put in there to say, this is what I want to, if you find this, save it to the hard drive into these folders. And so you create an XML file that basically said, okay, in this folder, I want these files that are between this resolution and this resolution, or of these 3 file types. And you go through and dictate all that. And as it was like spider webbing around, if it came across any file that met that criteria, it didn't do any kind of image matching or anything. Like if I upgraded it today, I'd probably include some machine learning algorithm to find specific things and sort it by that. But it was an interesting tool. It found a lot of very interesting things. I used it to find proxy lists online, and it was highly successful at that. And it could cover a lot of ground fast too. Like you'd be surprised just going out 7 links from a single website, following every single unique permutation. I never hit the end ever. Running it for weeks, I never hit the end of that. It was always able to find a new link just 7 levels deep and follow it out and download everything from it. So
I just love to have something that would visit all of the comic book manufacturers and pull that I'd like to do, because then the kid can just incorporate that into the website and you've got like an automatic update of what's, and maybe a little thumbnail of it or whatever like that is. There's a couple of sites that do that. But steal their info. It would just be nice to have this comic book store have access to a nice list of all the stuff that's out there, because it just makes a big difference if you can see the cover and go, oh my God. Speaking of which, the new Swamp. I love Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing's the best. He speaks to the trees.
I don't know. Is anybody else on the stream seeing like a random like lockup here and there? Because I noticed it happening again in OBS and Ninja, where I'd be fine, like I'm animated in my window, but you two lock up at the exact same time for about like 3 seconds, and then it comes back. So
I have not noticed it.
It only happens very intermittently, but like when it happens,
everyone's saying
Yeah.
So I'm
Everyone's saying
thinking it might actually be the control window. Let me try closing it. Maybe it's like trying to render the
Stutters.
graphics or something.
Everyone's
like
stuttering right now, apparently. Dave is going dial up.
Hey, Devlin 42, thank you for the €14.99. He said, lol, Bollywood Superman. That would actually be funny, like deepfaking. Yeah, you totally could. You totally could. Or do it the other way. Go get like one of the Bollywood knockoff films, because there's like a million of them for like every superhero movie. Like get
and
those
put Tom Cruise in it.
Yeah, put Tom Cruise in it. Exactly.
Tom Cruise singing those songs. Doing
like
when are we
going to see when are we going to see Top Gun 2? Like literally the movie was done like 3.5 years ago. Like
I know, right?
We're going to see it.
Well, they're freaking out because of the pandemic stuff, right? They don't want to release the film and then find out if there's an outbreak and they don't get their box office and everyone's in it. Like, look, didn't I think Scarlett Johansson's like suing the studio or something because she's like, screw you for releasing it on
breach of contract, I think is what it's supposed to be.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, because I guess her contract only gives her a cut of like theater sales, but they
Doesn't
released
that feel a little out of touch
on streaming too. Well, yes, I get, probably, but like I kind of get it too, right?
Yeah, no, there's definitely
they've probably screwed over a good handful of folk.
Well, I'm sure with HBO announcing that they're gonna do day and date streaming stuff. I'm sure everyone's like, what? But at the same time, it's like there was a pandemic.
Yeah, they're selling it for like $30 on Disney Plus.
I bet they signed this stuff before Disney Plus really blew up. And I mean, they locked those kids down for 10 years. They're like, you are going to be making these movies until we're done with Endgame. Like they locked them down years ago. So like they didn't realize
Loki, and then they just go, oh, by the way, you're on a TV series now. What?
Tom Hiddleston is like, dude, I'll play Loki till the day I die.
Is that what he said?
If they want me to keep coming back, I will do this. He's like asked a couple times where he's like, yo, I was 30. I turned 30 on like the set of Thor. I turned 40 on the set of, I don't know, in Endgame or something like that. And he goes, well, how would you feel if you were still Loki at 50? He goes, dude, that'd be great.
Fine with me.
I was perfect for the role.
I'll buy the beer.
Perfect.
Right? Yeah, I'm like, and that's so cool. Like the guy loves being that character.
Oh my god, he's so much fun. I would do that with McKay, though, to be honest. If I could do McKay, I'd be happy to do it. Like he's so much fun. Yeah,
right? Yeah. Like Ryan Reynolds being Deadpool. Like he doesn't even have to act. He just is. Man, I've loved him since Van Wilder. Like,
he's fantastic.
I got to take a tinkle. I'll be right back. You guys carry this.
Yeah, he's a really nice guy too. Like he did a film with a friend of mine, and I worked with him very, very briefly. But he's just a cool guy,
and he gives that impression that he's just like a cool dude. Just a
Canadians, Ox. You know us, us Canadians.
But yeah, I mean, I love that's just like. Van Wilder, he wasn't playing a character. He was just doing his thing. Like, I imagine that's how it must have been like for like Robin Williams or Jim Carrey. Like they're not really playing a character. They're just being themselves.
Apparently you just couldn't shut Robin Williams up. Like he would just go. Like he would just like back in the days, like he's always the dream from an actor. It was always my like dream scenario where you go in and do one episode of a show and then they bring you back and they write you a show and they do all like that's the ultimate possible compliment to an actor,
right?
And he showed up on Happy Days as that dream sequence alien thing, and then they made Mork and Mindy out of it. Well, you're too young for all that, but yeah,
I know a little bit. I've seen some Mork and Mindy, Nanu Nanu, and all that. Yeah, come on. Drink some milk with his finger.
Oh God, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was some classic stuff, man.
Pages backwards.
And coked out of his freaking mind, apparently.
Oh, come on, who was it back then?
I mean, I don't,
Wait,
not me. We're just talking about Robin Williams.
Yeah, but you were probably 12 back then. Like, come on.
That's true. Yeah, I was literally coked up, and then I was like Coca-Cola, like woohoo, like that was
clear Coke.
Yeah, that's it. Oh God, that's right.
Pepsi that did the clear one.
Was it that?
Yeah.
Isn't Coke changing their recipe again?
Oh, I don't know.
I wish they'd stop trying it. Like it's a success, dude. It's the most successful beverage like on earth.
Just do cane sugar and leave it alone. That's all you need.
Oh yeah, it's true. The cane sugar stuff. You know what I'm addicted to now is the bubbly stuff. The bubbly. It's this lightly flavored water.
Yeah, Miss Barnacules loves that.
Oh my God! You know I bought stocks in Pepsi because everywhere I go, everyone's freaking drinking their damn booblies or bubblies or boobies. whatever
Yeah,
they call
what was like the expensive? There was like a really premium expensive version of it too. Oh God, what was it called? Nobody could pronounce it right. It was like
the
some
Pellegrino
French
stuff?
name. Yeah, and it wasn't Pellegrino. It was something else. It was no, everybody was drinking it. Damn it, why can't I remember? Even my wife was drinking it forever.
Denon,
and then she switched.
or whatever it's called, the something.
No,
I got to tell you though, that bubbly stuff. Disclosure, I own stocks. But I freaking love that stuff. We order
LaCroix. That's what it was. LaCroix.
Oh, okay.
LaCroix.
Yeah, that was real
I've never even heard of it.
LaCroix.
Really? You ever heard of LaCroix?
Dude, it is everywhere down here. That's like that's the premium one. Like
it's horrible.
That's why I'm not.
I think it's gross. Yeah,
it's like you dumped a tablespoon of baking soda into like tonic water and then kind of rubbed a strawberry on the side of the glass. It's gross.
The bubbly stuff, you got a flavor, just a hint of flavor, but no sweetness, and it's just it's the best. That's the stuff.
So so you guys ready now? Now that we finally, it took this long for everybody to get in here. Do you guys want to tackle this this topic that we got for today?
Yeah, what do you make of this
on the internet? Panties.
So Apple is going to spy deeper into our.
This is actually like a pretty touchy issue, but I ran a poll because I was curious. I was genuinely curious, right? Because I definitely have a biased view here just because of my knowledge of technology and how it's been abused, and also being a content creator that's been targeted with shit like this. I put out a poll. I basically said, do you think the new multimedia scanning process Apple is implementing could result in a new weapon for attackers to use for swatting innocent people? And 57.5% said yes, very dangerous. Only 8% said no. But 34.5% said need more info because they just don't understand what's really happening here, because it's kind of a technical explanation that Apple is giving. And I mean, rightfully so, right? But they're not completely giving a full like indication of what they're doing. They're kind of giving people a false sense of security by saying, oh yeah, there's only a 1 in a trillion chance that this could be falsely triggered and lead to a problem for somebody.
I always worry when they start talking about save the children.
Yeah.
You know,
so this is, first of all, the biggest reason why everybody's talking about this is like people expect this from companies like Amazon and Google. People do not expect this from Apple, because remember, Apple's the company that literally wouldn't open a terrorist's phone because it violated their privacy rules. Unless
those terrorists are China, and then it'll do whatever the hell it can to sell.
Well, then they'll just open the phone for you because they got a spare set of keys. But the problem is, like, Apple is this huge kind of like white knight gatekeeper of privacy, which is really bizarre. Like, that's always been bizarre to me. I always figured the open source Android guys would be like the keepers of privacy, but no, it's
just a marketing ploy, isn't it? Isn't it just marketing? I mean, like, I feel like it's.
Apple's backed it up. Apple has backed it up over the last, I mean, other than the iCloud leak that occurred. When they put up right at the time they put up the billboard in Las Vegas that says what happens on your iPhone stays on your iPhone or whatever. And then it was like at that same time they posted that billboard, they had a massive iCloud breach and like everybody's nudes were on the internet.
To be fair, that was more of a bad password problem, not
it was a social engineering attack,
encrypting problem. Like
but there was also that pen tester tool that you could literally send a text message to a phone and it would and you'd crack it. I can't remember what the name of the term was, what the software was, but like those phones have been broken for. It's like BlackBerry, that myth that BlackBerry was the most secure phone, and that's why all the presidents and such used it. They still handed out the code to law enforcement all the time.
Yeah. So and the problem is there's bugs. At the very least, before we even dive into this, there are bugs. Keep in mind, Apple actually had a bug for months in FaceTime where you could call somebody's phone with FaceTime, hang up before they answered it, and then immediately call again within 10 seconds. And it would open up their webcam and their audio without showing anything on their screen that you're connected. And you could just surveil them remotely. And I just to let you know, I'm not just saying this hearsay. I made a video on YouTube of me doing this to my friend. I called him ahead of time and told him that I was going to do this. I said, listen, I'm going to call your phone with FaceTime. Don't answer. I said, just don't answer it. And just so you know, I am going to be able to see your video and audio, and he was like, yeah, no, cool. Let's do this. And sure shit, I tried it for the video because I was recording it right when I tried it the first time. I called, I let it ring, then I disconnected, then I called again immediately after. And when I called the second time, it immediately answers and says connected. And I can see his face. He's just like, and I can hear the audio and everything. And he's like, is he calling yet? Like, he's talking to his wife. He's like, yeah, he said he was going to call. He was going to call. And it's like in my video, like him doing this. So then I hang up the FaceTime and I call him on the real phone. He answers. He's like, yeah, it didn't work. And I was like, no, dude, I could hear you talking I could
Here's
see
what
you
you
and hear
said.
you talking. Yeah. So it was really bad. And apparently this exploit was in for months until a person found it months previous, put it in a forum, and Apple ignored it and didn't give it any attention until it started being utilized by tons and tons of people. Then Apple was like, oh God, this is a problem. We better fix this. But it was like, I could not believe how easy the exploit was that I was even able to do it. Like just without any prep, no scripts, no hacks, no rooting, just worked on the phone. So the only way to fix it until they released the patch was to go in and disable FaceTime entirely. You had to basically go into settings and say, do not allow FaceTime on this phone. And then it works. So just to let you know, Apple already has some pretty serious problems with just bugs exposing security holes. Everybody does. It's not special just for Apple. Like everybody does. But here's where this gets weird is this new thing that they're and let me explain it. And you guys can correct me if you've heard something different. But from what I've seen looking through this and reading it on my stream yesterday over on Twitch, it looks like what they're doing is they're putting a piece of code on your phone in iOS 15 that will scan your local file system on your phone looking for any images, or they don't specifically say videos, but again, you can get away with just saying images because they consider video just a stack of images, right? So they can go through and they can look at the frames, and then they're going to match the hash of that image. So basically they're going to hash it, take the, the sum of all the bits in an algorithm and hash it into a number. And they're going to compare that against the database that's encrypted and stored on the phone of all known basic child porn that they found on the internet thus far, or that they flagged as CSAM or child abuse or anything like that. They're going to match up that hash. And if it matches up that hash within a certain weight, which means, I think they have to find more than one, then it'll basically lock you out of your phone and notify the authorities so that they can basically come and like arrest you or question you or get a warrant to search your house and everything.
Why don't they just delete it?
So, well, I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do in that situation, but here's the problem. Why the same reason why they can't delete it is the same reason why they shouldn't be doing this in the first place, which is hashes can be falsified. Hashes can be generated. Like if I can decrypt that hash list and I know which hashes they're looking for, or I can gain access to that database, not only can I put in hashes that are invalid that I could use to strike other people and attack them, but I could even generate fake files that match the hashes that they're looking for. SMS
and then put them on someone else's. Oh my God.
All I got to do is SMS send you like 5 of them, and it'll outweight the system and trigger it, lock you out of your device, and the cops will come and pay you a visit. And they said they do have an appeal process that you can go through, but that appeal process takes time. And during that time,
you have to borrow someone else's phone.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll probably get a visit during that time. So the problem is, like, I see so many people message it. They're so misinformed on this. On TikTok, I post a video. It's like, what, you're against people stopping child porn? No, I want to burn pedophiles. Like I would love to just put them in a pile and set them on fire and like cook fucking like little hot dogs and shit over their corpses. Like I cannot stand that shit. But here's the problem that I have as a content creator. We've reported 3 people now on my Discord server alone for posting bit.ly shorteners to child porn. And what happens is people in the channel click on it. You see everybody going, oh my God, what the fuck, dude? That's so gross. Why would you do that? And I had to report them to both Discord and the FBI when they did that. The problem is when you click on that link, it's now a file in your internet cache. As soon as it's in your internet cache, it matches on that hash algorithm running on your iOS 15 device. And Apple is notified that you have that in your possession. Your phone gets locked and the police come and visit you. You didn't download anything. You didn't do anything. It's just the browser stored that file locally. And the other problem is not only can you generate fake hashes, like let me give you an example. If I know what hashes they're looking for, I can just grab an existing file that's an image of a puppy. I can pad the end of the file to create a hash collision, basically add enough data to the end of the file that's exactly the data needed to generate the hash of the original. Right. And now that's going to trigger the system. It's going to upload, and then your phone's going to be locked out while a human's like looking at it to make sure that it's not what it says
actually
to be.
A puppy. Yeah.
And the other thing is humans are really lazy. We've already experienced this with like TikTok and reporting on Twitter. I reported somebody that threatened my kid's life and said he was going to hire a hitman to kill him. And they said, this does not violate our guidelines. It's because they're lazy and there's such a high volume of things coming in. They're just going to get used to just clicking, send it. And you're going to have humans that aren't going to take time to properly review it and examine something. So you could have, say,
well, there's also no time to, like, if someone actually figures out if it's as not simple, but it's rudimentary as that, then, the sheer volume of kind of like, of trying to get through the system where all these things would be impossible.
Yeah.
There's no way there's enough humans on the planet to look at all that stuff.
No, exactly. So you have to defer to the automation. But here's the problem is normally the automation's making a non-life threatening decision. But what if somebody swats you or your phone has a false positive, the cops show up in the middle of the night, kick in the door, you end up in a gunfight with the cops because you think it's a home invader, just like with a SWAT, these swatting things that happen because somebody decided to put stuff in the Twitter feed or in a Facebook feed or SMS message it to you or put it in a Discord feed or something so that it would be cached on your device so that it triggered this mechanism. The other problem that I have. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it was interesting because there was a podcast that I was listening to because I thought it was more tech, and it ended up going more into the child abuse video stuff. And I just find it's just too much for I get too stressed listening to it. But one of the things it pointed out was like, what do you do if you're one of those children? What if you were 8 at the time and you are now 20 and you're on the internet? And you're faced with that on a regular basis. How do we get rid of this stuff? Because I do think we do have to do that. Like, I mean, that's
no. And there's a lot of efforts to do that. Like Bing has an AI now.
Oh, no, I'm not saying this is the way of doing it. I'm just saying that it has to be done. I mean, what they're saying that one of the largest repositories of this stuff was Facebook messaging.
Yeah.
And the only reason why we know it's Facebook messaging is because I'm not sure if it was Facebook or I think they were the only ones who were actually reporting it originally, who were required to report it in some way.
Okay. I know Microsoft did for the search engine. If anything was found through the search engine, it was reported through a team that actually was ran out of an office in my building 26 on the Redmond campus, where they would go and add it to a blacklist and report it to the FBI. And what it would do is it'd prevent the browser from ever being able to even view it or go to that site. Even if it could make the connection, it would just give you a 404 and wouldn't allow you to connect.
Could you give these images to AI and so that there aren't humans having to look at this freaking
Okay, so here's the problem with AI, and it has to do with AI just not having any context or objectivity. So let me give you an example of a situation. So they said another aspect of this update is not only the reporting of the hashes, right? But the other critical part of this is to prevent your kids from sending like images of themselves or receiving images from another person. It uses AI to analyze those images to see if they're of an adult nature or potentially an underage person. And it'll bring up a notification. It'll even tell you if you got the family setting on your phone enabled, it'll say, we're even notifying your parents you're about to send this picture. They'll still allow you to send the picture, which I think is absolutely fucking batshit crazy, but they will notify your parents if you do, which can reduce it. That I actually can stand behind because it's not involving the police. It's not sending something up the cloud. It's just giving instructions on the screen and allowing you to choose how to proceed. So that I'm okay with. The problem that I have though is what happens when your kid who's like, playing on his iPad or whatever decides, oh man, I'm going to take a picture in the mirror of myself naked because I don't know any better. Right. Or I'm going to run around the house naked and turn it on and do something funny because it's like my son Xander has done that a million times. That's why we have to go through his iPad and delete everything. And it's a non-internet connected device. But the problem is and he doesn't do it anymore. I'm talking when he was young, like when he was 4 or 5 years old, right? He's also on the autism spectrum. So it's like to him, it was, it took years for us to, basically train him that is inappropriate and people aren't going to like that. And it's considered rude is how we taught him.
Right.
And so, but what happens if a kid takes an image on their thing, it uploads that because the AI identifies it as potential CSAM or whatever. It uploads that. They talk about this in this document. This can happen. It can upload. And let's say they look at that and they identify that now is like child porn. They identify like your kid in the bathtub. Like you take a picture of your kid in the bathtub. It says, oh, we identify this as somebody who could be underage in the bathtub. It sends it up. Now they add it to the hash list. That hash list gets processed. It comes down and now flags all that image on your phone, even though you're the only one that has it because it's flagged in that database. It's going to hit that now and you're going to get a visit. Even though it was never uploaded to iCloud. Yeah, that has.
People, I mean, not in an automatic sense, but like people have reported, just like you said, like, oh, it's my little baby in the bathtub.
Yep.
And they get reported for child porn and like their accounts suspended or disabled.
Isn't that so sad though? Because it's true. I've dumped a whole bunch of my stuff onto Google Photos years ago, and of course we've got all the kids, all shots of the kid in the bathtub and the kid in the sink when the kid was small enough to fit in the sink and wash him. And
my parents have like an entire Polaroid book of me like running around when I was like 4 years old, jumping in the swimming pool and jumping in the. I never wanted to wear clothes. I'd rip them off. So, but now this would flag all those people as distributors of child porn, even if they never distributed it, because it basically is going to get sunk on Apple's behalf, and now they're going to have possession of that image, and it's going to be in a database somewhere without your permission forever. And the other thing that I don't like about this is when you involve a human element, especially a fallible human element, that can make the call on what should be added as a hash and what shouldn't, or what should be reported and shit. It's going to change on a person by person basis.
Absolutely.
You're going to have one person that thinks breastfeeding your kid is child abuse because they tried to pass a law in the United States on that failed miserably. But you're going to get that one person at Apple that says, oh, that's disgusting and that's child abuse. And they're going to report that shit. And now the cops are going to come to your house. And it was an image you took on your own phone just to send to your spouse. And it was to be kept in the family. And it was considered of a private nature. They're going to flag that shit.
What is your 15-year-old daughter doing wearing that? You know what I mean? Like what? Like in some places, that's going to be, you know, oh my God, why is their face covered or something? I mean, like
the
it's
flag
just
could mean different things, right? Yeah, exactly. So it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be super subjective. And the thing is like,
what is their reason for it? What is Apple's reason for it? Like, what have they said? We're doing this because
too much child porn on iCloud. So basically,
in other words, they're worried they're going to get sued. Then.
Exactly.
I don't know, man. I feel like this is a push from
there's too many attack vectors
from government. Honestly, they're getting pressure because
they're desperate not to get nailed by the
this is their slippery slope pressure from, because like they got sued right by the fuzz to open that San Diego shooter phone, and they kind of won that, but you know, this is all pressure to give backdoors to government.
It's always the same. They're asking for the backdoors. They always say child pornography and terrorism. It's always the freaking same.
It's like it's I don't know, man. It's just,
and not only that, they scan encrypted data too. So if somebody sent you an encrypted email with an encrypted photo you can't even access, like it's encrypted, they will break that encryption on the phone. Basically, even if you can't view it, they can, and they'll go
what
through.
What if there's a way of like, could you do your own self-verification thing where you go like, you know, where it goes like this phone, this image is being, we're worried about this image. What's the deal type thing? And you can go, okay, fine, scan it against the database because you know it's not going to match, or something like that. Is it possible to do something like that?
Where like, hey, we think this is bad. What do you think? Kind of thing. Like, because
I also don't want someone hacking, it's so an account and having, I don't know who's going to attack. No one's going to freaking hack an account and put all their child porn on it. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. That sounds like an excuse.
No, check this out though. I've had this happen, but not like you think. Not hacking my phone and like trying to plan something, but what has happened is people have posted links in Discord saying that this is free codes to games. You click on it, it goes to one of these questionable images that goes into your cache because the browser caches that as a file, and that triggers the system because your file system now shows you have a file matching the hash on your thing. And most users aren't going to be like, oh, I need to go purge my cache. It's going to match before you can go and purge your cache and delete everything. And now that's going to be on record and go towards the overall weight. And if that happens again, you get tricked into clicking another link later on somewhere down the road, then that'll hit the weight, and now you'll be considered a threat, and they'll shut you down, lock you out. And they could lock you out during a moment where it's like you really need your phone. Like you might even be trying to call law enforcement because somebody is literally harassing you and putting you through PTSD by sending you videos of people getting murdered. That's happened to me. I had a person on Facebook. They just kept creating new accounts to DMing me images or videos of women and children getting shot to death. And I couldn't not see it because it resolves the thumbnail. Like it won't let you click on the link. It auto resolves the thumbnail. So every time I'd open up my message, like you got a new message, and it would be another image of like women and children like dead in ditches, and it fucked me up. Like it was like it took weeks for me to recover, and I still don't think I've fully recovered. I still get
and humans can't be looking at this. Humans having to delve through these files again. Who are you going to pay to do that?
Well, that's so that
people
you mentioned
on Facebook
like, well,
going
can't we have this compared to AI or neural networks and stuff? Well, you have to have human verified data first. You have to have known good data to compare against, and so someone has to some or a lot of someone's have to. And like you got guys who work for Facebook and Twitter or YouTube, even these humans who do scrub through all this flagged content, and it's hard. It's
all right. Crazy question. Is this like totally out of the realm of possibility? But is there a way that you could have a system on a phone or whatever system you're using that you have to sign off on sending a photo of somebody you don't know? You need to get a digital signature saying this is verified by either, the person who's, to stop people from sending photos of you that you don't want to send or something like that. Is that too restrictive? I guess it is. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a way to.
I think the technology exists. I think it's absolutely possible. But the question is, does it violate your constitutional freedom? Here in the United States, it's like if you have a right to, say, photograph people in public, like for instance, if you're in a public place down here in the United States, you can be photographed. You can go video.
I just assume, that's my assumption. Is you're clear, yeah.
So if people couldn't post without permission, that means that they wouldn't be able to post videos of cops, like putting their knee on somebody and killing
playing Tay-Tay instead of getting
the phrase reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yeah,
that's the core of your ability to record and take pictures in public. Is like you don't, when you're walking down the street you do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Yeah.
Like anybody can just look out their window. Like you're not, but inside my own home, like if somebody's on the sidewalk taking pictures of me right now through my fucking office window, that's illegal because I do have a certain level of expectation of privacy.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, right. Like, so like there's probably a fuzziness there because like my blinds are open, right?
There is. I watched Audit, and he said that actually, as long as your blinds are open and you're visible like through the window without them actually stepping onto your property, it's still within the legal realm. It's
right,
creepy as fuck, but
there's no reasonable expectation of privacy if I have my blinds open. Like
that's when you unleash the hounds,
right? And so it's like I don't think there could be a way to say, hey, Tim's trying to send a picture of you to his buddy Jeff. Is that okay? I don't.
Okay, well, what if it is there? I guess there's always going to be a way around this stuff. There's also always going to be ways around it.
Yep. There always is. And what happens when they use AI? Like, let me give you a scenario that's very real that actually does happen. And this is something that happens still today with the Bing image search. They'll get a report that something appears to be have an underage child and of a sexual nature. And what it ends up being is an image, like a private image that somebody had on their Facebook, for instance. Like you have a private image on Facebook. You really don't in the EULA. No. But your profile is closed. It's only open to your friends. And you put up a picture of you, having a good old time with your wife or girlfriend, but it just so happens on the nightstand, there's a family photo with a child's a face in it. The image will match on that face and also match on exposed breasts or genitalia because they have those AI algorithms that look for those things. And if it matches on a child's face, and it'll automatically flag it as child porn, pull it out of the system and send a notification. It's because it matched on the face in a photo hanging on a wall or a photo that was on a nightstand. So you end up with this problem where and there's not enough humans to review all the false positives that it goes through. So now I fully agree that like search engines and stuff should err on the side of caution. Social media should err on the side of caution and just basically just disable those things. Like don't allow them to go any further than their immediate scope, or even just kick them off the platform with a warning says, oh, this could potentially be something bad. So we removed it. Please don't post it again. Something like that. But where you go wrong is where you have an automation, and this is what Apple is kind of headed towards, is you have an automation that's judge, jury, and executioner. And what it does is you're on your phone, you're scrolling through your Facebook, your friend's photo pops up of him, doing the Eiffel Tower with his friend, and there just happens to be an image in the background that has something. It might not even be a child. It might just be somebody who looks young enough that it triggers the algorithm, because the algorithm you're obviously not going to make an algorithm that knows the difference between 17 and a half and 18 and a half, right? So the algorithm will trip up on that. It'll flag it, but then it's uploading that for human review somewhere, which means now your photo that you controlled the scope and distribution of is now in the hands of some human at Apple that could steal it and sell it or distribute it themselves. And before you say this shouldn't happen, Apple has already been sued multiple times for Apple geniuses taking customers' phone back, decrypting them because they can basically break the phone if they don't have the ID, and they're extracting the photos off of it and then putting them on a thumb drive, taking it home that night and selling it on the dark web. So people's like honeymoon photos and stuff. So this has already happened, and Apple's already had to settle multiple times for these cases where geniuses have done this. So what is the expectation that these suspected photos that are uploaded, say it matches the hash, but it's not that photo, it's a private photo of you doing something, that gets uploaded for human review. Now a human is seeing it that you never wanted to see it, right? Because the expectation was it stayed on your device. You don't even have iCloud enabled, doesn't matter. Even with iCloud disabled, this still scans all your local things, and it will upload the hash and the image to their database if it's suspected of anything, which means a human then reviews it, which means at least a human is seeing something that you never wanted them to see. And that could be a human that you encounter in life, recognizes you. That could change something. That person could even recognize you as a celebrity and go tell people about it. And even without the picture in their possession, they could still push that experience and harm you. Or they take a USB thumb drive in and they don't catch it and they put it on there, or they broadcast it to some device or something like that and then take it for their own personal collection. Then they get hacked or something like that and it ends up on the web. That surprisingly happens quite a bit.
And didn't Facebook have a system where they're like, if you've got a nude picture you don't want on the internet, send it to us and we won't put it on the internet? And it's like, what? Like literally, you submitted a photo that they could then, I guess, create a hash for or whatever, and then they could pull it off. But you had to send, these are the photos I don't want anyone to see. Here you go, Facebook.
Yeah.
And you know how you change a hash? Does anybody want to wager a guess of how hard it is to change a hash on a photo?
No idea.
Probably not that tough.
It's not. All you got to do is open up the photo and pad 1 bit past, because in all image files, you have something called a header, and the header basically tells you how many bytes offset from the header is the image data. So that it knows how much to read. All you have to do is go to the last byte in that file and just start writing random garbage. That's all you have to do to change the hash of it. You could just put one letter or one number at the end of that. You now break the hash. It's still the same image, same dimensions, same compression, and it'll still open, it'll still view. But now you've broken that hash, and every distribution of that will be a different hash now. So somebody else has to catch the new version of it, put it in the system. But if every person that's sharing it just rolls the hash by one, you would never be able to track it. Like it would just continuously change. The fingerprint would change.
So this comes back. This is like the war on drugs thing, where we got to figure out, we got to stop working on how to, like stem this impossible tide of, of various terrible substances coming into the country, or us sending them to other countries. And we got to figure out pedophilia and figure out how to stop it, because that's, I mean, because this is the other thing is, I think for so long, it's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, throw them in jail. They're sick bastards. The reality is we got to figure out what's wrong with the brain, because there's something going wrong there, right?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with them being abused themselves.
I'm sure. Yeah. So we got to figure that out. Like that's got to be, in a way, you want to get to a point where maybe now this might get some responses. But what if, and this also speaking to someone who as a child experienced some of this. What if we made it socially acceptable enough to bring forth those concerns that you have those feelings? What about that? Like, what if, like, right?
Like that
if it's like depression or anything else
that brings about you need to destigmatize mental health issues.
Yeah.
Like I always hated that question. Like the doc always asks, like, hey, do you have suicidal thoughts? And I'm like, man, sure. I've thought about it, but like
all the freaking time,
in a motivational sort of sense, like not like,
oh, you mean like getting to the cliff? No.
Hey, man, I've thought about, man, what's it gonna be?
I tell my therapist about that all the time,
but not like, come on, like that doesn't mean I'm leaning toward doing it. Like, man, I wonder. Of course, I'm a curious guy. My mind goes down on kind of weird pathways.
And there are times. I mean, there are definitely times where you go like
act on it, right? Like at what point, and in some folk. Again, like some things I've thought about, like child abuse. Like this is this whole thing surrounds a very touchy subject. But like I've thought when a child is like when it's found out, right? Like, oh, Uncle John has been touching on whoever. I wonder, does the trauma come from the act itself, or the realization that those acts were seen as bad? Like if the kid doesn't know any better, like you grow up, people, and this applies to a lot of things. Like you grow up in an environment where whatever, skinning cats is a normal thing, right? You don't know any better because that's the only world you've ever lived in. Then it comes out that, oh shit, my family is fucking twisted.
Yeah.
I think is the event that causes the trauma, is the realization that this whole time I've been doing something bad when I've always thought that it was okay. Right.
Although there's
people telling you that, oh, you've been abused and you've been, you missed you blah blah blah, all this stuff, like, oh shit, right? Like,
but with sexual abuse, the problem there is that it's both, right? It's not only do you know it's wrong, you don't want to be there, you don't want to, like, this is happening to you without you wanting to be a part of any of this. That's the other part of it, I think. I know. But I've always said like that. I wish the guy who I had to deal with and many other people had to deal with afterwards, because society wasn't in a place that could discuss this stuff. And there are these idiot church systems that allow this to happen. Not even evil, like they're actually not idiot, evil systems that allow this to happen. Is that if he could have got help perhaps before, instead of being like, oh, God loves you, God will forgive you, and providing him with a freaking basically safe house.
Yeah.
Why not? If he was like, holy shit, this is like, I mean, he had kids. He must have known this was not a good thing he would not want this to happen to his kids. I'm sure if there was a society that somehow had a system that wasn't going to result in him getting the shit kicked out of him by my dad, for example, who went over with like a baseball bat. Luckily he wasn't home. Otherwise my dad would be probably in jail faster than the other guy. But You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I feel like, and again, I'm by no means, obviously, in no way condoning the stuff.
Right.
But I just feel like there's a visceral response to this because we're all so painfully aware of just how fucking evil it is. But it's an evil that potentially could be prevented if we can get our heads around what is happening, what's wrong.
Here's the thing, though. I believe that as long as you haven't physically accosted somebody, you haven't done something, or even mentally for that matter, just anything. If you just had the impulse, I don't think you'd have any problem going to any therapist or anything and talking about that impulse and working for it with no ill will coming towards you. What are they going to prosecute you for?
Do you think pedophiles would, though? I don't know that a pedophile would in this day and age go like, God, I've been having some crazy thoughts about 10-year-olds or whatever. Like, would people do that now?
To happen. I mean, it's not.
Oh, really?
It's not incredibly common, but no, it's been known to happen. So where people will have like impulses that they know are incredibly wrong, and they'll go and talk about them with somebody who guarantees that they won't disclose it to anybody else, provided there's no imminent threat. That's the thing. Is like a therapist. Right. If there's an imminent threat, you're like, oh, I just molested like 5 kids or some shit like that. Then of course, the therapist's duty is to have the cops come and pick you up for that.
But even as a dad, I wouldn't want them around, whether they're getting help or not. I wouldn't want them around my kid. Like what? Right. Like, and I mean, like what? So what do you do? Because it's so funny because I say what I've just said, obviously, but my same response is like, "You touch my kid, I'll fucking kill you."
It's the same.
And I would. Anybody touch Xander, I'd
absolutely. The same kind of concept is like drug rehab, right? You're not gonna bring in a bunch of drugs to the rehab center, like right. So like if someone is exploring. Right.
The first meetings sort of, at the kindergarten,
the fucking dispensary,
right? Yeah.
So like, if somebody there'd have to be a place, and like, I mean, much like you remove violent criminals or any other thing from the normal like group of society, that would have to be the thing too. Is like, if
like a halfway house kind of thing.
Man, I'm thinking these things, and like, it's not just like an idle curiosity. Like I feel urges, right? And if you're self-aware enough to be like, hey, I understand that this is wrong. I don't know why.
Well, I want to hurt people. I want to,
and so you would have to remove them from an environment that would be, triggering.
So again, there's still there's still something that's going to be hidden because there's no plus side to them, right? I mean, it's like it's better for them just to suck it up than to put themselves in a situation where they're going to lose their job. They're going to have to be put somewhere. They're going to have to be. It's a difficult thing. I mean, look, there you go. They get into really creepy stuff. Then so does Google search start going like, if Google knows people are gay before they do they know they're a pedophile before they do? I mean,
it's like when Facebook outed all the pregnant teenagers. Remember that?
Oh, that's right. By giving them the ads,
giving them the ads. And the parents are like, "Why are you getting ads for like pregnancy tests and stuff?" That's weird.
Yeah. Oh, look, diapers.
Here, let me be clear on my stance. Like, I think that humans have crazy impulses. Like, I have impulses of murdering people. I have impulses of driving down the road. Somebody cuts me off, and it's like I visualize them flying off in the woods and then running around their car on fire, going, "Oh, what a world!" As I'm flipping them off.
Are they impulses or are they thoughts?
Well, they're thoughts, right? But thoughts
I think
and impulses,
I
guess you could say, like, well, sort of, because I mean, I'm really mad at that person. But if it really happened, obviously, I'd be like, oh shit, I'd pull over and call, the fire department, unless it was a BMW driver. That's the only exception. But anyways, my point is if somebody has like the impulses or the thoughts, they should be able to, without retaliation, go and get some kind of help, right? They should be
ideally, yes.
The second you fucking cross that line, though, and you lay a hand on a child, you forfeit your fucking life, as far as I'm concerned. Nobody has to agree with me on this, but I think that if you cross that line, I don't care, because just like if you murder somebody because you have an impulse to murder somebody, you don't get to like go to murder therapy and be like rejuvenated, let back out in public to buy knives and guns and shit. No,
absolutely,
you go to jail. If you want to get help, that help should be available to you. That's the thing.
As long as you haven't taken that step,
right? But if you've taken
no one
that
else
step,
is being
man.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
That's preventative.
There's no second chance on that shit. You are never going anywhere near a child ever.
Exactly. But let them know that they can, if they feel like they're going to get to that point, or that's happening, go after them. And that's why I think that the majority of the technology should go towards the people that are producing the CSAM content. Go after the people that are the creators of it and the distributors of it, instead of trying to go after like every single attack vector that there is, which is potentially exploitable.
Yeah.
So you're not going to exploit being the guy that made it, right? I mean, it's obviously you're going to go investigate that and be like, okay, you're the guy that made it because it's obviously your kids or your cousins or the kids that you kidnapped down the street.
Oh my God.
Obviously they'll make the connection, but then you don't end up with all the false positives of people just having false hashes and images forced on their phone and hidden iframes on caches of websites and stuff. There's just too many attack vectors.
Because you want a society that goes, what is that? Oh God, that's that I report, delete, get rid of, like, you know what I mean? Like that's what you want. That is ideal. But I do worry that if this is my assumption, and maybe I'm wrong, is that there's like a small group of people creating a large amount of content is my hope.
I would think.
But if we're in a situation where there's a vast number of people consuming this stuff and participating in it in any way, shape, or form, then we've got a serious freaking problem we got to sort out.
And we definitely do that.
And that ain't with the
well established. Just to be clear, I don't fault Apple for the attempt. I think that what they're doing is honorable. I think that the idea of what they're trying to accomplish is right. I just think that it has too much of a surface for abuse and too much exposure from innocent people.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
It's too clunky.
It is. It's a hammer that for a fly kind of.
Yeah,
well,
it's a half
that's
measure.
minimizing, but it's not. This isn't the way to do it. You know. Because
what about ads? Like what about like an ad that goes like, are you thinking about this or that? Or then you should talk to, here's a number to call.
A lot of people already do that. Like if you go to Google or you go to Bing or you type in anything that could be construed as CSAM, because I did some research on this. And as soon as I even typed in the
what does CSAM stand for?
CSAM child.
How did they
sexual assault
and abuse?
Yeah, because you know what? Because apparently the term pornography belittles what's happened. It should be called child abuse videos. Because they're not, it's not pornography. It's
pornography is actually legal. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pornography it almost gives it a legitimacy that it shouldn't have.
But if you type in anything to the search engines that says that, it will immediately pop up at the top and point you to a hotline to get help.
Oh wow.
And also say that you can call and get resources and stuff like that. If you do any research on the subject, it'll pop up in many places. It'll even do it on Facebook, on Twitter. If you try to post anything that has any of the target phrases or words, it will pop up and notify you and say, hey, listen, you need to get help, go here.
That's interesting.
Or it'll even pop up and tell you here's where you could report something. So if something does show up on the search that you did that and that wasn't what you were searching for, you could report that, right? It gives you the resources to do that. I think stuff like that is good steps, right? Because you're enabling the people that are against it to take down the people that are doing it, right? And there's a level of investigation that's done there. You're actually submitting something that you found and you're putting your own reputation on the line saying that I believe that this is illegal, right? Whereas with an AI, there's no punishment for the AI when it gets shit wrong. Right. And here's another thing this is probably the biggest issue that I don't think we've really talked about where this opens a huge attack vector for government spying. And we've seen this is because the hash database that Apple is using, right? So the hash database that Apple is using, they're not being very clear about who gets to populate that database. It looks like they're just they just say known hashes of CSAM content. Actually, all the government would have to do is put one hash in there for one file. Doesn't matter if it's an image or not. One file that they're looking for that has personal information or something that they're looking for a target, or they're looking for street signs, like hashes of potential AI matches on street signs and names, so they can figure out what protesters were at a certain area at a certain time. And if they put that hash into the system, they've now enabled the system to go and flag every single phone that meets that criteria, and they can just play it off as, we are bad. We thought that it was child porn, but what they really did was just pull in that data and categorize it in a database, and now they have that information on you to move forward. With an
don't you think are they not doing that already? Don't you think? I mean, I feel like
I genuinely believe they're already doing it. But the problem is if they publicly tell you and you agree to it, then you have no legal ground to stand on, and it makes it really easy for them to bring that in court. Otherwise, they have to hide it, right? Because if they brought it up in court that they illegally spied on you, that has to be thrown out under law. So
did I tell you about the roof stuff? I'm getting a roof done, and we got a quote. And I thought they came to do the quote, and they just came and arrived with an iPad and said, "Here's the quote." And I'm like, "How did you you haven't been here?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, we just did the satellite stuff." And he showed me all the images.
Oh yeah, like Google Maps and stuff. Yeah,
this is called Eagle Cam or something, and they can actually zoom in even closer. It's a low orbit satellite, but they can basically see what brand of umbrella we have on the patio furniture.
Yeah, I've seen how close they can get with that. Yeah,
it's wild.
There's a constellation
privacy.
There's these satellites that are the size of a toaster oven or something like that. They have optics that can do really, really good pictures.
And I didn't have to sign anything for that.
Nope.
That's they just Looked it up. Like,
so pretty soon you're going to have people just come into your house. You're going to come home and have an email in your box that's like, oh, we found a leak on your roof, or a suspected leak where the tiles were slightly more worn out than the other tiles. And then they send you the image of the quote, and your wife's like, in your backyard, like sunbathing nude. And you're like, guys, like, what's going on? I mean, that already happens with Google Maps all the time. Like Google Maps has
and
to
drones
go through and hide naked people all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dude,
it's
and we're on set and people fly drones in to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, here's another question. No. So what happens if your kid is running around like you're out in the boonies, you got your backyard fenced in, it's a private property.
Yeah, he's running through the sprinkler.
Kid's running through the sprinkler naked back and forth, and the satellite passes over and takes a picture of that. And then somebody goes, oh, that's child porn. Let's add that to the hashes on the database. And then it goes and flags the one phone that may have other images of that kid or something. It just seems like if we get AI involved in this without context and without understanding that context, because a lot of law is based on context. And, it's like, for instance, if you commit a crime, there's different punishments depending on whether it was premeditated or whether it was accidental.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like there's involuntary manslaughter where it's like, oh, I accidentally wrecked into somebody and killed him. There's still consequences for that, but it's not as much as if you like pulled over and shot him in the head. Right.
Right.
It's like it's intent matters. The problem with AI is AI cannot imply intent. Like AI isn't there yet. AI and machine learning is going to be like, I think that's a cat or I think that's a dog. It's not going to know what the dog was doing. It's not going to know what the cat's doing. It might be able to infer certain specific situations, but not with any accuracy.
But my fear is that we're already patterning people. Like, that because of 9/11, that there are, anytime there's any kind of search for Islamic fronts or any of those kind of information, that they're putting together a profile for those people, trying to stop them from. Google has got a whole system that kicks in when they think people are being radicalized, and they will try to point them to other sites. So that if certainly China's already doing that, where they have what do they have those nice little cartoon figures that pop up and remind you not to say anything stupid online, and it's so 1984 now. Like we are at this point where it is going to be thought crimes. It's going to be pre-crimes, right? Yeah. Oh my God! And all the data leads you are going to murder your wife. I'm like, what?
Yeah. They already kind of do that sort of thing.
Ring doorbells, Amazon, Alexa, they've all been used in.
They're in bigger. Hell, I'm probably everywhere. Really, they do like, okay, where are we going to send our patrol guys? And so they use models and stuff, predictive models, to be like, well, this is probably where things are going to go. The government does that when people are like before riots and stuff. Like they know they have good probability of when something, especially a mass event like that, is easy. It's easy to guess when people are gonna flip their shit and go rioting. Like a group of people is easy to guess, and so like they kind of already do. But it's also when they do that sort of thing, it's also like a recursive problem, right? If you send a bunch of cops into a particular area, then of course crime rate is going to go up because you're catching more crimes,
right?
Because more cops are in that space. So like,
the companies that have policies for reporting child abuse videos and photos are going to be seen as larger collections of it because they've reported more.
It's that kind of thing. It's like, well, there's more crime in these areas because you have more people busting people. Like the only reason there's a low crime rate in my neighborhood is because there's no cops running around.
Nobody's doing anything about it.
Nobody's getting caught for shit. There's a confirmation bias. Well,
maybe it's
everybody's saying, "Oh, the cop abuse has gone way up." No, everybody got cameras.
More people. It's the same for like mental health.
Yeah, if anything, it went down because there's got to be a couple of cops that are thinking maybe I won't act like an idiot because they're but there's still enough out there to get a lot of footage.
I mean, do you really have an expectation of privacy anymore? Like I don't think so. But think about it right now. Like, just if I just play devil's advocate to my argument here, right now I have two webcams pointed at me, two cameras, one of which I'm knowingly using, one that I'm not. That's still in a computer that can be activated. I've got multiple Amazon Alexas in earshot to me, a Ring doorbell, a Nest thermostat that has a microphone in it for some reason that they keep saying, oh, it was just an early revision. We ended up not using it. You got a smartwatch, you got a phone in your pocket, it's got an omnidirectional microphone with noise filtering so it can pick your voice out of a crowd. You've got all these devices in your house that are all basically spying on you and constantly sending telemetry to Apple or Google or Amazon in one way or another. Right? It might be your actual voice. It might be your actual image. It might be a hash of your image. It might be
the discussion is semantic at this point.
Right.
It's no longer
in a big way.
But
here's more how they're using the data.
Right. Really. Here's where this is different. Like this is one of the biggest arguments on my TikTok video is, oh, we're already being spied on anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's not like they're not doing this already. Let me explain where it's different.
I think that's an apathy, though. That's a different.
No, this is where it's majorly different. Is all of those technologies are sending telemetry under a EULA that you sign that says we will not send personally identifiable information, which means that if that data was used in a court case for whatever reason without some legal outside connection, they could not use that because if they use that against you, then that would be personally identifiable and they'd be breaking that EULA and you could sue them. However, in this case, you are openly agreeing by installing iOS 15. You are saying, I give Apple permission to make the call on what the context is of anything that's on my phone, whenever, send it to them and give them the authority to notify law enforcement and lock me out of my device.
Well, and cell phones. I mean, the cell phone. What about the cell phone companies? They can pretend to anonymize all they want, but if your freaking map data says that I go home at 5 p.m. to the same place every night, you know where I fucking live.
Well, we don't save GPS data. Well, you got radio triangulation data, right? You know which 3 towers I was in range of, so you can pinpoint me within 15 feet. Like you don't need the GPS data.
That's super bad.
But the point is, if you give them permission, and this is where Apple is kind of setting a really bad precedent here, is if they just did this covertly, and they were just like, fuck it, and they just did it, right? Which I'm sure they're doing. Lots of companies are doing this. Then it wouldn't be admissible in court, but it would still give them, it'd give the government what they wanted, basically wiretapping your phone. But because they're getting you to agree to it, they can openly use this in court, which means they don't have to work as hard to prove that you're guilty or innocent. They don't have to do anything. They can just take the data that they collected as is and say, this was found on your phone. It doesn't matter how it got there. It doesn't matter if your friend picked it up and put it there. It doesn't matter if you're on a Discord server scrolling through and it popped up on your phone and went into the internet cache. None of that matters. It matched against our algorithm, notified law enforcement, and that's enough. And then they can just bring that up in court. Like, oh, it triggered the security system that they agreed to when they bought the phone. So
and I resent the fact that it's like, if you speak up against this, then you are pro pedophile. Like,
I just ban people. That's not mods. If you see anybody implying that, just ban them, please.
Dude, it's the same kind of, so like years and years and years ago, before pot was legal in Washington, there was a big kerfuffle. There's a lot of back and forth push about the cops using like these high grade thermal imagers to beam your house, to like look at your house and like, oh, the garage is extra hot, like they must be growing weed in there. And there was, and I can't remember what ended up being the end decision there.
Right.
I think they ended up allowing the cops, like that's okay. That wasn't like a breach of Fourth Amendment or anything. But like,
just look at their electricity bill.
The argument of if you have nothing to hide, then like you shouldn't be worried is outrageous, because what will happen is eventually they'll move the definition of whatever is obscene or objectionable to the law, and now hanging a fucking gay pride banner behind me is now illegal because if enough people got into the government to change the rules, and now so like as much as possible, we need to make it harder for other entities to spy on you, man. Like I don't care how good you are, how nice or perfect of a person you are. There is shit that goes on behind closed doors that you don't want your neighbors to know about.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why not? Why have curtains?
Otherwise, I would be picking my nose while I'm talking to you right now.
I'm just saying, like,
if I want my neighbors seeing me masturbating, I'd open the curtains and press it against the window. I'm not into that.
And it doesn't even have to be sexual of a sexual nature. Like, a couple doors down from a friend of mine, they had new neighbors. They moved into the house, and they, I hate to be super generalizing or stereotypical, but they appeared to be of a like Indian, like from India sort of culture, whatever. Had a bunch of folk over, having a big crazy loud party and stuff, and like whatever it is they doing behind the closed doors, they should like it's not for me to judge or to know about. It's none of my business. Like they could, whatever it is they want to do, so long as they're not hurting somebody else, that's fine. Like it should be, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know what that just reminded me of is so I watch a lot of First Amendment auditors on YouTube.
Yeah.
A lot of them are pricks though. Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
like,
they push
way too hard and stuff like that. But still, the premise that they're trying to get across in many cases is accurate. And the one that I just watched that really pissed me off the other day is the cops show up to this lady's house in an apartment complex, and she's like, "Oh my God, my neighbor came out and he punched me right in the face and hurt my eye and my jaw." She's screaming and crying, and the cops are like, "Oh my God, so where is he? Where is he? Oh, he's right next door. He's in that room. He's in that room." It turns out that she was making a bunch of noise, and the neighbor banged on the wall and told her to knock it the fuck off, and she freaked out because she's like the strung out, drugged up lady. The cops show up. She's hysterical. They don't do any background check on her or anything. It turns out that she also has a history of falsely accusing people to use the police as a weapon. So the police show up. What do the police do? They take the statement. She's crying. She has no bruising on her face or anything. They check her face and they're like, "Well, we don't see anything." She's like, "Oh, it hurts so bad." So they don't wait for medical or nothing. They go over, open the door, and the guy answers the door, and he's got a gun. Because he's like, people are banging on his door. He opens up the door. They didn't say, "Hey, open up, it's law enforcement." They just knocked on his door. He opened it. He was armed. They saw the gun. They drew down on him and said, "Put your gun down." He was fine with that. He's like, he slowly put his gun down and complied. And they said, "Step out of your house right now. You're being detained," or whatever. And he's like, "No, I'm not stepping out of my house. I didn't do anything wrong. What are you detaining me for?" He's like, "I didn't do anything." He's like, "You know, your neighbor's saying that you punched her in the face or something like that." Well, he's like, "Well, I didn't. She's never even seen me. We've never even talked to each other. Like, there's no way I could." So what they do is they just go in and tase him, throw him to the ground, drag him out in the hallway, punch him several times in the rib cage, tie him up, put him on a thing. And the whole time he's telling them, like, I've never seen her. I've never seen her. I don't know why you guys are doing this. And then he's like, he tells the cops, "Would you please go into my house and recover the weapon? I don't want that weapon getting stolen. It's outside of my control. Please go secure my weapon."
Nice.
One of the cops goes and secures the weapon. Well, as they're hauling him off to the hospital, and he has bad damage, he'll be damaged for the rest of his life. He was in the hospital for 3 weeks to recover from his injuries, and now he's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life because he was 70 years old. The police officer then goes back to the woman to take the rest of the statement, and she basically recounts the statement as, "He kept banging on the wall and screaming at me, and I told him to fuck off, and it was emotionally damaged me." He's like, "So wait, he didn't? I thought you said he punched you in the face." "Well, it felt like he punched me in the face the way he was treating
emotionally
punched me in the face." And the officer immediately right then calls on the radio, and he's like, "Shit, stand down, stand down, stand down. You know, make sure that guy gets treated right.
Put that guy's ribs back in."
Yep. So that guy's now suing for like $2 million or whatever, and rightfully so. He'll win. But it's like, when I see shit like that, it's like, if your neighbor can just call the cops and say something, and there's just a presumed guilt without any investigation or look at, like, I don't have a problem with the police detaining people but detain them, like literally tell them why they're being detained and detain them and do the investigation. Don't just go in there and beat the shit out of them because they're not complying with your wishes, because you won't detain them, because that puts you under a new legal precedent, because officers will just not detain you, because once they say they're detaining you, if they fuck up, they're in trouble. But if they're not detaining you and you just stand there and cooperate, then they can fuck up everything and it doesn't matter. That's like one of the biggest problems. So if you're smart, when you get stopped, you tell the cop, "Are you detaining me?" And if they don't say they're detaining you, you're free to walk away. And if they try to restrain you while you're walking away, well, then they're fucked. Like that's not how the law works down here. So there's all these like little loopholes, but I keep seeing incident after incident after incident where it's like a person calls the cops and reports something that's not true, and the cops don't show up and investigate. They just show up and just start like arresting people and beating the shit out of them. And I'm like, that's
a policing issue, though, rather than a legal issue, isn't it?
Exactly. So what happens when Apple detects, like, what happens when I'm on Discord, I'm streaming, and somebody like a SWAT attempt, because I have SWAT protection now. Luckily, they implemented that because so many people were getting hit by it. So now I have a protection with E9 or with 911 dispatch. But what happens when somebody goes on Discord like they did before and just starts dumping a bunch of links that then resolve? The thumbnail pops up from the resolution. That thumbnail now matches the hash in the database. I'm still streaming. Apple immediately notifies the authority that 3,000 hashes showed up because I'm just getting spammed on Discord or on Instagram or something like that. In the background, this is all happening. Now my device has these all cached.
So it's got to be smarter. It's got to be smart. It's got to be smart enough to see.
Yeah, the police kick in my door. What do I do when I hear my front door get kicked in? I grab my damn gun. And then I have a freaking shootout with the police over somebody who just wanted to troll me because they didn't like my content. And before people say that doesn't happen, no, it absolutely happens. I've had multiple SWAT attempts.
That's the biggest problem with SWATs. That's the problem with SWATs, right?
Yeah, no, there's people that get off on seeing you, like, they want to see you killed on camera or beat the shit on camera because it makes them feel powerful, right? They don't like, "Oh, he banned me from his channel, he's going to pay." That's why it's a felony now, and you go to jail for 20 years, and they're making an example of people because it was just everybody was doing it. Because there's people that just do not identify us as humans. If they don't physically know us in real life and they don't encounter us in real life, you're not human. So if you think
it's
for
the
a
same
second
issue as driving, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're seeing people through glass. You're seeing through people. There's an ability to disconnect that you wouldn't have in life. I'm so sorry. I got to run. I didn't realize it was almost 3:00.
Yeah, we were getting into it, man.
Dude, what a great, like, I really have missed this. I'm hoping to do more of it. I just, as I say, it's just while Apple owns me.
You will always have an invite and you will always have the links, so you can join anytime you want, whenever you want. No expectations. You can just do whatever you want, and you're always welcome here, David. Always.
Well, thank you, man. It's a great place to be. So I will say, I'll say thank you to everybody, and you guys look after yourselves. When do you get your jabs?
Oh, I'm done.
You're done. No, I was talking about back jabs. Sorry, I get
the back jabs. I think I still got like 15 days left before I can go and do that. So
seriously,
yeah, I've been trying to get the doctor to do it sooner, but he's really worried, especially now that my liver enzymes are up. He's like really being strict about the schedule. So, but I'll let you guys know. There'll be a Twitter post of me probably making like a really twisted face, because he'll let me do it. Like, I haven't yet, but he's told me when I went in there, since I'm a content creator, he's like, yeah, if you want to like film like me injecting your back,
you get to film the jabs.
I might. I don't know if he'll let me film, because the angle I'm at, I don't know if I'll be able to film him actually putting the needle in, but you'll see him behind me with his mask on, with the fluoroscope over my ass with the needles going in. I'm sure he'll let me get that angle.
Tune in, kids. You'll love it.
All right, man. You get out of here. Give the family my best. Go smack Babs around a little for me.
Thanks for joining us.
Shall indeed. And we'll talk soon.
All right, get out of here, bro.
All right. Cheers. Later. If I can figure out how to hang up, I've lost my mouse.
No, this is what I do too. It takes a while. We understand. No, you hang up first. Hey, Mage Miner, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. He said, only in the U.S. is illegally obtained evidence illegal. Well, it is, because illegally obtained evidence is illegal to use. Like, because the methods that used to obtain said evidence were illegal, therefore you were committing a crime, and two crimes don't make a good. It just doesn't work that way. Taste like tofu. Thank you for the $5. He said this will not stop with protecting children. Wait till it comes to political speak and Apple taking other companies' intellectual property.
Of course.
Exactly. No. And that's the thing is, if you have a system in place that's just matching hashes, people are like, oh, but it can only match on the hashes in that database. Okay, who puts the hashes in the database? What AI is putting the hashes in that database? Who's making the decision of what should be in there and what shouldn't be in there? Are they making the decision based on actual data? Are they just saying somebody looks like they're younger than 18, which a lot of people do look younger than 18 that are actually 21 or 25 or 30? Or who's making the call on what is bad? Or what level of verification is being done and guaranteed? They don't give you any of that shit. Apple's just like, oh, we have a database of known. What does known mean? Like, there's just too many fucking maybes or assumptions being made there. But my biggest problem, honestly, like from my perspective, I already know all my devices are spying on me and shit, and it's we don't collect personal data. I'm not saying that there's like not this dragnet of shit to get my privacy. The problem is me agreeing to Apple making the decision of, without context, of just something existing on my phone for whatever reason, triggering a system that disables my device and sends police to my house. That's where I have a problem. That's where something like this can be abused and weaponized like severely. And that's my biggest concern. There's a lot of concerns, but that's my biggest concern, because I've been the victim of that. I've explained that. I've been the victim of people that, I don't even know if there's a word for it, where they basically trick you into clicking links, or they send you shit that resolves as a thumbnail on Facebook or social media just to get that rise out of you, just to trigger PTSD and cause damage to you. And now imagine if they could take it a step further and not only know that they're damaging your brain, they could potentially get somebody to come in and actually kill you or harm you. Or like attack your child does something innocent on their little laptop or whatever that's not even, or not their laptop, their iPad or whatever that's not even connected through cellular. It's just got a Wi-Fi connection in the house or whatever, and it decides to make the grandiose decision that, oh my God, we got to notify law enforcement. But before it does that, it sends it to an Apple employee that somehow is blessed with the ability to look at your child's photo that they made that the parents haven't even seen yet, and then that gets copied by somebody, potentially leaves Apple's control, and then goes out on the web where it can never be fixed. Once it's out, it's out. Like, you'll never get that back ever in a million years. So that's the problem I have, is with Apple pushing it this far. And I'm actually really surprised. I have to say, I'm really, really surprised that Apple is just like releasing this, like, oh my God, this is like fantastic and everybody's going to accept it. Especially when I launched a poll where it's like clear everybody is like wicked on the fence, or the majority is completely against this.
Yeah.
So Apple's going to alienate a huge number of like me, for instance. I'd have to leave. If they do this, I have to leave because there is no guarantee that I can give that somebody isn't going to SMS me a bad hash, or somebody isn't going to resolve something in a social media feed or in an app, or somebody isn't going to social engineer their way into getting me to do something that triggers that mechanism. And because I can't guarantee that, because it's out of my control, that means that they have the edge to determine what bodily harm comes to me and what physical and mental harm comes to me. I can't accept that. So I would be forced to basically get rid of all my iOS devices, my watch, my phone, my Apple TV, all that shit, and move over to Android. And then who's to say Google isn't going to do the same shit next?
Right.
You know, so it's like you can't, that's the problem is like this is, I don't feel like Apple thought about this being used as a weapon. They're like, oh, this is a good thing that's only going to find bad things, and we're going to be really diligent about not hurting innocent people. But there's too many what ifs and too many context dependent things and too many things that they don't even mention in the document. Nowhere in the document do they mention false hashes being generated, which is a real thing, hash collisions, which is a real thing, being able to pad existing images with other data to create the hash that triggers the system, even for an innocent image. They don't talk about what happens if somebody you go to a website and it's a hidden iframe in the background, just like, you know, you go to a porn site and it pops up the advertisement in the background or whatever, so they get paid. What happens on your phone when it opens another tab, but that tab doesn't have focus, and that's the one that's caching all of the images that are triggering this mechanism, and you think you're on a page looking at stats for a graphics card. Like there's too many, but are they going to take any of that shit into consideration when they bust down your door and like beat the shit out of you and put you in handcuffs and drag you out and tell all your neighbors that you're a fucking child molester? Like just so that some 12-year-old on the internet gets a rise out of you? Like, no, and that happens. That is a real fucking thing. So this ends up being, Minority Report. It really is. It becomes this pre-crime mechanism where they think that they're seeing something, but that's a manipulatable thing that they're going off of.
The thing too is like, it has to be fuzzy, right? Like it can't, it's because like if you, like you were just saying, like if you change the image a little bit, then the hash is going to be different. And so that's
too easy to defeat.
It's it's just weird.
I mean, you can defeat it in both ways, right? Like if you want to circulate an image and it potentially matches the hash, change it by 1 bit. Now it doesn't match the hash. But if you want to incriminate somebody, all you have to do is generate a matching hash or pad something to the matching hash, and now you can attack them. It's like both vectors are exploitable. And that's like, and Apple can't do shit about that. There's nothing they can do to protect against that scenario.
The example that they have in their white paper, which I will link again in the chat, they show an image. It's like a sunset in color, right, with like a silhouette of a palm tree, and it shows an example of a neural hash underneath it, and then there's like a black and white version of that same image, and it says the original image on the left is nearly identical to the center image, therefore both images have the same neural hash. So, but how close is nearly identical, and like what is it that is showing them that it is nearly identical? Like how far off can that center image be and still be considered nearly identical? Like,
because if you go to Bing and do a reverse image search, or you go to Google and do a reverse image search, you'll get 1,000 pages of people that don't look anything like the image that you did the reverse search on, but their algorithm will still get a weighted match of like 80 to 90%. So
because because how close are they going to? How close do they want it to be before it's like, hey, before they say like this is similar, right? Like, apparently you can scale it, rotate it, and it will still recognize it from the originals, right? So it has to be a little bit fuzzy. It has to be like, because those changes those are changes to the image. So like, what else can I do to an image to make it flag as nearly identical to either an okay or a not okay? That's why they're meant to use. Exactly. And the database, I guess, is from the hash list, I guess, is being built or has been built or whatever, is being compared to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So like, much props to those guys. They clearly have a database of evidence of determined bad stuff, right?
Like I said, even Microsoft did that. Like their job was literally to go find the images that match that checksum or whatever and put it in the database to lock it out. So this is weird. The problem is they think their system, and to be fair, I mean, from a layman's perspective, looking at this document, you're like, this sounds like they did a really good job and they covered all their bases. But if you notice, there's a huge leaning towards matching on the content, even though it's changed. But I don't see a lot of stuff in here that's like, we can 100% guarantee that there's no way this could ever be a false match, even if somebody was engineering the content to match. And if somebody can do that, if I can take the palm tree picture and I can move it 3 pixels to the left and rotate it a little bit and get it to match on their algorithm, and then rotate it again and get it to match on their algorithm, and rotate it again because it keeps waiting and it keeps saying there's just 3% between this one and 3% between this one, and I keep slowly morphing that, I can trick the system into believing anything is bad.
Yeah.
And so there's just I don't have any trust in the system. And the other thing too is like, there's so many other places where it would be more appropriate to catch this stuff in transport, and it wouldn't be on the physical devices, which the people don't have complete and total control, because obviously web pages put shit on ads and stuff and images you never see and hidden frames and stuff. You don't control all the content on your device when it's internet connected, especially a mobile phone. I think that it'd be better to catch this shit like in flight or in transport or on the services like iCloud. Fucking go for it. Like, if you want to run this thing over iCloud, you want to just delete images, even if there's false positives, big deal. You deleted an image. The person still has it locally.
That is this first step. So what's happening is it's local. It is going to scan them locally. So like your phone downloads the hash list, and as a part of, like, before it uploads an image to iCloud, it's going to compare the image to that hash list. And then if you get enough, I don't think it describes exactly how many, but if you get enough, like, positives,
it's like a weighted metric.
It'll like, how many matches have you gotten? Then it will be like, hey, you're a bad person.
Yeah, but my point is, they're even scanning it local, and they're not scanning it. And like, they say iCloud a lot, but there's one place where they clearly say that they scan the image on the local device, even if you don't sync the iCloud. Even if you don't sync your image library to iCloud, they are still doing that local check. And if it matches a hash, they will upload that image against your will to their protected iCloud store so that they can manually go and look at it and verify it.
I haven't dug deep into this, but I've heard that the way to not have this happen is to turn off your iCloud.
No, their document specific. When I read it yesterday on stream, there's a paragraph in the document that specifically says that this will scan your images locally, not just things that are sunk to iCloud.
Oh, see that.
Yeah, and it even says that if it finds the image on your phone and it's not already in iCloud, they will automatically upload it as a protected image to their iCloud that only they can see, along with the hash that was found, so that they can visually confirm it. It does not have to be sunk to iCloud. They keep pointing at iCloud and talking about iCloud in this document, but it's clear if it finds something on your phone that matches that hash, they will upload whatever matched the hash regardless, and the hash to a protected server that they can look at. So yeah, if you could just disable iCloud, yeah, fuck it. Okay, I won't sync my device to the cloud, and then no matter what anybody does to my phone or anybody forces on there, it's not triggering a system. But that's not the case. This is going to be running 24/7 on your phone, analyzing every piece of image data that's on that device.
That's weird, because it does specifically say, before an image is stored in iCloud Photos, the following on-device matching process is performed for that image against the blind blah, and then so on and so on.
Right before. so
right before. Well, the implication there is that it as a part of the mechanism of uploading it, of syncing to iCloud. So like, as a part of that step by step, it's going to scan it first.
Oh, my browser is crashing. I think did the stream just shit?
I mean, you're still there.
I'm still. Does it still look okay? Yeah, it locked up the whole browser and everything. I can't even move the mouse cursor to the second screen.
Let me see if the stream is still good. Yeah, Miss Liz says yeah. Frozen, sound good. Frozen, you're frozen.
I'm frozen. Shoot,
but they can still hear you.
Okay, they can still hear me.
Only audio.
Yeah, the browser is completely locked. It's not even saying not responding, and I can't move the mouse to the second screen.
Oh shit, I'm froze too. Really, so the OBS Ninja
just took froze. A shit. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Let me see if I can kill the browser.
Audio good. It's all.
Yeah, the browser just completely locked up. It won't even let me move the mouse to my second screen. Oh, now my mouse is gone. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
I think the whole system's fallen over here. Hold on. Are you overheating? What's going on here? Okay. Well, shit. Yeah, I can't even open Task Manager. I can't click the Start menu. I can't open Task Manager. I can't do Control Shift F10. I cannot move my mouse to the second screen. Everything on the screen is frozen, but the mouse cursor on one screen, and that's it. Somehow DWM just like completely fucking locked up across my whole box. I've never had this happen. This is bizarre.
Yeah, Apple's getting you, man.
Yeah, even when I try to open Task Manager, I just get a little cursor change to loading, and nothing shows up on the screen. Shit.
Oh,
So I'm
bogus.
gonna have to do a Control Delete. Let me see. Oh,
the stream.
shit! Control Alt Delete doesn't even work. Even when DWM crashes, Control Alt Delete works.
Rough.
I've never seen this happen.
Can you do the old Windows tab?
No, it's she's fucking dead, Jim.
Oh shit.
Like I don't know how people are still hearing us. Honestly, this is very bizarre.
Right?
Let me see. Is it like I've never seen this happen? I've always been able to Control Delete. I've always been able to reboot the driver. Like, what's the key to reboot the driver? It's like Control Shift B or something, or D.
I don't know.
It's like Control. Here, let me see if I remember. Windows Shift D, Alt Control D, or is it B? There we go. Oh, did I get it back? Hold on.
Oh,
hold on. Something happened.
Shift B.
It's like Win Shift B or Alt Shift B or Control Shift B or Win Shift something.
Shift B. That don't make no sense.
There's a keystroke that you can. I forgot it. There's a keystroke that you can do that reboots the video driver.
B.
I'm trying to remember what it is.
Windows B. That ain't doing nothing. That just brought me to my taskbar.
Yeah,
Windows
it's like
B.
Control
Win Shift B. Oh shit! That did it. What a trip.
Yeah, that's how you reboot your graphics driver.
Yeah,
except for
Windows
my case,
Control Shift B.
Yeah, it didn't do anything on me. It made the beep noise, but then now it's not doing anything, and I'm still locked up.
I heard the boop, and
I've never had a problem like this.
That's crazy.
This is new.
Well, while you fuss about, I'm gonna use the restroom.
All right, go take a piss while I figure this out, guys. If you're just joining us, sorry we're frozen. My laptop's doing something that it's never actually done before. This is new. The UI is completely frozen. I can't move the mouse to my secondary screen. The cursor is the only thing animating. Everything else is frozen. When I can't reboot the graphics driver, I can't open Task Manager. And it's not responding to Control Delete. So I can't, which is usually those are the ways that you can actually get the video driver to reboot, or DWM, or the desktop Windows Manager to reboot, or even Explorer. I can't even open up a control window. This is fucking weird. All right, so let's try doing here. Okay, so Control Win Shift B. Yep, it's not taking that. Let's see here. Control. I can't open Task Manager. Yeah, I've never been this locked out before. This is definitely something new. I'm trying to figure out if I start streaming again, is it going to create a new stream, or if I start streaming again after a reboot, will it automatically sync back up with the old stream? Because I really don't want two different streams on the channel. And I can't believe I'm asking you this because I can't see the chat. Here, let me open it up on my smartphone. Yeah, I've never seen this before. Like, you guys can still hear us, so obviously the audio stack is still working, but everything else is broken. Like, I've never seen Windows in this bad of a state before. Like, and that's saying something, because I literally worked at Microsoft for 15 years. I have never seen a machine to the point where you can see the cursor render on one screen, but you can't shut down or change processes, or you can't even, you can't even kill it, right? Like, here, let me try sending Alt F4. Let's see what happens. Okay, now I'm getting an hourglass. Can you still hear me?
I hear you.
All right, so yeah, it gave me a little hourglass, and that's it, and nothing's changed. So
would it be TikTok without tech issues? Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. This is fucking bizarre, dude. I've never seen a Windows anything break like this.
Yeah, this is hardcore.
This is like, because I've always been able to do Control Delete to get out to the login screen. I've always been able to reboot the graphics driver. I've always been able to open Task Manager, even if Explorer is completely hung and fucked.
Something.
Like, I've always been able to move the cursor to the second screen. I can't do that. Like, it's not even rendering, like, at all. Here, let me try this. Let me try unplugging the second screen and plugging it back in and see if that forces it to re-kick. Here, hold on.
Do it.
Plugging it in. Oh! Oh, hold on. Oh, now it's playing back everything I did. Okay, I'm starting the stream again.
Hey,
are we back?
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing myself move.
Oh, yay.
I'm on the other side now, but yeah.
Hopefully it didn't create a whole new stream. I hope it just picked up off the last
No,
one.
it just reloaded. I didn't go to another link or anything. It just
reloaded. Good. So
it
probably will just tail it on there. Okay, good. I thought I was going to pull a Twitch there. This is crazy. Let me explain to you guys like what just happened and walk you through this, because this I've never seen this before. This is like, honestly, Windows has like safeguards in to protect against this. So I don't know how this even like happened. So
Task manager failed.
Yeah. So what happened was everything locked up, the whole UI locked up, which I've had that happen before, right? Where just nothing refreshes, right? Nothing says not responding. It's just the graphics driver locked up. So then I tried to send Control Shift Escape to open Task Manager. Nothing. That's really rare, because even if Explorer is dead, Task Manager will open. But nothing there. I rebooted the graphics driver. It let me do it once. So I did, the Win Control Shift B, and that crashed the driver and reloaded it. Still, the screen was frozen, and I couldn't move the mouse to the second screen. So what I ended up doing after all those attempts to move, I even tried Control Delete and it wouldn't even go out. But here's what happened. As soon as I unplugged the secondary screen and plugged it back in, it immediately went to the Control Delete screen like 15 times and came back. Like all the keystrokes that I just did over the course of like the previous 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It opened up, Task Manager opened up, Task Manager opened up, Task Manager opened up, Explorer, closed
all of that stuff.
Yeah, all the stuff just queued up. So the whole time that graphics driver was crashed, and it wouldn't let me open Task Manager, it was just queuing up all the keystrokes on the driver. So it's almost like the HID keyboard driver just was buffering, and it wasn't able to send anything. But when I unplugged and so I know it was the graphics driver that did this, though, because when I unplugged and replugged it, and it caused it to re-identify the secondary monitor, everything worked. Everything came back. So I've never seen that happen. If you guys, honestly, in all my years working on Windows, I have never seen something borked to that level.
Yeah,
so I don't even think I could reproduce that in 1,000 years if I wanted to, but I have no idea what caused it. That was really bizarre. Weird. That was cray, dude. I want to thank some of the supporters here. We really do appreciate that support a lot, guys. Like, holy cow. You guys are the reason we can keep doing this. Let's see. Let me scroll up so I can get this. Okay, Nigel, thank you for the £5. Said Jerry, looking forward to the Nerd Cave build. Yeah, I am too, if it ever gets finished. Joseph Ronnie, thank you for the $5 super chat. We appreciate that. Johnny Winter, thank you for the 20 Danish kronars. He said, hi all. Welcome back, David. Late. Have a good show. Sorry I didn't read that earlier, but I'm sure David was happy that you were here. Meat Puppet 007, thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, and wants to stop people from pushing these falsified hash. Oh, what's to stop people from pushing falsified hashes to your phone? Nothing. That's the thing, is that's the problem, is there's nothing, because different apps, they store in the file system of your phone, right? And the idea is to catch this stuff on the phone. So if you have an app that stores the images in a different location or something, they're going to scan all the images. And they could. There's no reason why they wouldn't. Let's see here, because otherwise, then what do? The people that are offenders of this, they're just going to go download an app that saves the files differently. And now what? Apple doesn't see them? That's the problem, is why create a mechanism that is so easily defeated by the offenders, but so easily abused as a weapon against innocent people? That's where I have a problem with this. Yep. Let's see. Scroll on here. Tastes like tofu. Thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, this will not stop with protecting children. Oh, I already read this one. We'll wait until it comes to political speak. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh, no, and that of course is part of the, I'm sure, is part of the motivation here, is they'll be able to scan for things like, terrorist training videos or extremist
on
sort of
CSAM.
stuff. Yeah. Oh, no, they'll just add in different definitions. It'll start with CSAM stuff, but then they'll add in, we've got enough videos of these bad actors talking blah blah blah, or recruiting videos and this and that.
I think that there's just a huge problem here with accountability, because you're basically just enabling an AI system to make some pretty broad calls that can disable your ability to communicate with other people and take control of your device away from you. That's that's dumber than fuck. Why would anybody agree to that? Again, I think it's a good goal. I just think it's really poorly implemented, and they didn't really think about the weaponization of this. Mm-hmm. And that was the first thing I thought of, because I've been the target of weaponization of many different technologies. And this one, unfortunately, is even more prone to more abusive attacks towards a person. And, if you've ever seen what swatting does to a person, there's a reason I filled out the swatting paperwork. I know 2 people that have been successfully swatted, and they're forever changed. They've never been the same since that entire event. You go to their house, it's like fucking Fort Knox. They have cameras everywhere now. They're double deadbolts on their door. They went and got a gun. It changes people. Like people that like would not own a gun, like they were totally anti-gun and everything. After this happened to them, the first thing they did was went out and bought a gun. Because like they had people literally come into beat their front door in and throw their wife to the floor and zip tie her hands and drag her out of the house, and had to witness that shit. And I was like, that changes you. Stuff like that changes you. Hey, Ben Affleck, thank you for the $2 super chat. He said, what's the link to the 3D Barnacules print store? I do not have a print store, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wish I did. One day I may, but I don't at this time. Let's see what else we got going on over here in chat. I'm curious if anybody else has any points of view on this. Bezin said there will probably be a cryptic message in the event log that doesn't explain what actually happened. Yeah, that would be very Microsoft, wouldn't it? Alice Barnacules Nerdgasm, you're acting a little sus. Like what? Like oh, that's suspect, right? Like
yeah.
So please elaborate. Ala loves anime. Like what?
Probably just joking. Probably just joking. Like you're being, oh, you're a little suspicious.
Oh, like I already know that they're scanning all the shit on my phone. I already know it's here. My problem is with people using it as an attack vector to send cops to my house to like fucking traumatize my child in the middle of the night because somebody wants to fucking swat me, and I don't want that.
Right.
Elminster said, "Are you using a display link based USB dock?" I am not. I'm just plugged straight HDMI out from. I think it's HDMI. Is it DisplayPort or HDMI?
I don't know.
No, it's HDMI. It's HDMI out from a Razer Blade Pro. Make sure you check your sync with audio and camera. No, it wasn't that. It was like literally the whole UI was like completely locked up. I've never seen it that locked up before. That was like seriously fucked up. Oh, we got a new member. Look at that.
Hey, thank you,
Gummug
Guam.
Gummug Guam in the house.
Thank you very much.
Ala loves anime. Said you're acting a little sus. No biggie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just gonna ban them. Actually,
Barnacules.
I think they're trying to be destructive.
Barnacules was not the imposter.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna ban them because like it might have been funny the first time, but no, you implying shit like that is fucking terrible. So hide user from channel, you're gone.
Sorry, bruh. Well, kind of.
And with a name like Ala loves anime, like it's obvious that they're just an instigator. So fuck them, they're just gone.
That is kind of
let's see what else. Yeah, we have a zero tolerance policy here, folks. Just to let you know. Yeah, no, I had that same problem over on TikTok. I had to ban a bunch of people because they're like, "Oh, what have you got to hide?" or something like that. It's like, dude, fuck off. Like
that is the
like
absolute
if you think,
worst.
Yeah, like
argument.
you really think that like if the police come, like the police should just come to your house every day and break down your door and come in your house and go through all your shit and go through your children's, ransack the room and flip everything over. Like I ain't got nothing to hide. Why can't they? Let them do it. Just let them do it every fucking day.
Then I should be able to too.
I should exactly. Can I come to your house right now and just go? Yeah, let me poke around
in drawers and shit. Let me look around.
And if I think something's bad, even though it's not technically illegal, I should be able to arrest you, beat the shit out of you, and throw you in the back of a cop car in front of all your neighbors. I think I should be able to do that. If I don't like something that's in your house, regardless of whether it's legal or not, doesn't matter. I can just come and do that, right? Like, no, people that say that shit are so full of it. They're so fucking full of it. And I've yet to find anybody that has a good argument. Like, oh, I ain't got nothing to hide. They can search on my cell phone. Oh, yeah. Well, can I come over to your house and like go through your hard drive on your computer?
Right.
Can I come over to your house and go through like your significant other's hard drive? Are you sure they don't have anything on there? Oh, can I go and go through your safe and like look at your private documents and like go through your honeymoon wedding photos and videos and stuff? Like, is that okay? No, that's private. Well, no fucking shit. So is your phone, dipshit.
The idea, right? Like that's the
yeah, they'll do that too. Like, oh, it's no problem. Oh, well, can I look at all your private shit that you have on like other devices? No, that's different. No, it's not. It's not different. If you give somebody permission to ramsack through all of your shit whenever they want to, for whatever reason, malicious or otherwise, you are giving up your rights. You might as well not give a fuck about freedom and just go live under a dictatorship at that point.
Like that is the whole point of the Fourth Amendment.
Yeah. It literally is. Like we're come to this country to be protected, not to fucking get everything ripped away from you. Like we're not just pretending. Well, actually, sometimes I think we are.
Some people are.
Yeah, they are. And yeah, Elminster said everybody has something to hide. That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
There is always like Ox said something. There is always something that you did in your life, or something that you regretted, or something that you're embarrassed about, or there's always something that you don't want to be general information. That is literally humanity. That is a trait of just humans in general and animals in general. And it could be something incredibly bad. It could be something incredibly innocent, but it's in the eye of the beholder, right? It should be your decision whether or not that is disclosed.
Yes.
Not somebody else, right? And that's another thing that I'm really scared too, is like, I'm a parent, I have a child, and it really, really concerns me that somebody could just pull shit off that device because they suspect something. Yep. When I'm the parent, I'm the person that looks at that device and deletes things and teaches my kid right from wrong and goes through there. I don't need some fucking random Apple employee that I can't trust to put that shit on a thumb drive and go sell it like the other Apple geniuses did. I can't trust them. So even if I can defend myself, even if I can appeal it, and it's like, okay, this is innocent, kid in a bathtub, or kid took a picture of himself running around the house naked or whatever on his device, even though I could defend that, the damage is already done. They've traumatized me. They've traumatized my neighbors. They put me through the legal system. I've wasted all this money on fucking lawyers and shit, all because a fucking broken bug in an AI decided to make the call. Not going to accept that. I am not going to accept that, period. And if you accept that, my God, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, seriously. I mean, hey, you have a right, honestly, just like I have a right to be against it, you have a right to be for it. I mean, if you find that to be a great feature and you want that on your iPhone, that's fantastic. But like, think about the end result of when somebody attacks you. Are you going to have that same frame of reference if you go piss somebody off on Twitter and they dump 3 fucking pictures in your Twitter line so that they get cached in your web browser and now the police come to your house and beat the shit out of you? Are you going to be like, no, I was for this technology. No, I knew it would never get it wrong. It's just like the people that don't get fucking vaccinated, that they get sick and they're in the hospital on a ventilator. And it's like, oh, I wish I could go back and get the vaccine. This is real. I don't know why I didn't believe it was real. It's like, if you have these people that are all like tough, like, oh, I don't give a shit. Yeah, wait until it's misused against you. Wait until you're the one that's like, oh, but that's not how it is. That's not how it happened. That's not what it is. Just wait until you're on the other end of that stick. And you know what? It's too late for you to bitch about it at that point. So you might as well fight for it fucking now. Oh my God. It just triggers me, man. Sometimes the way people think about this shit, like the whole mentality of, oh, if you're against this, you're against stopping child porn. Are you kidding me? I just said that I would take every pedophile that's ever touched a child. I would put them in a pit, pour fucking gasoline on them and light them on fire. And I wouldn't even piss on them to put it out. There are
better ways to go about this.
Exactly. But my point being is, no, there's no sympathy there for that, especially since I have friends that have told me their abuse stories from their childhood. Hell, one of them talks about Mr. Repsion, right? Daniel. Mm-hmm. He talks about his experiences being molested by a priest, growing up and all that online, and uses it as a point of reference. It is the most horrible fucking mentally damaging thing you can do to a person. But what I don't want to see done is a lot of innocent people get fucking hurt and get traumatized. And a lot of children have their images put out on the fucking internet by a system that's broken or has a bug in it or a database that leaks. That is not a good idea, especially with Apple's track record of having bugs, like being able to just monitor through FaceTime. So my point is, go out on the internet, skim the internet, find the bad shit, remove the bad shit, punish the people that are distributing it through the sites, through torrents, use honeypots. All these things are already being implemented, even through Tor. They're finding these people now because they've broken down Tor and can scan through Tor now. So they can find these people through these other mechanisms. This one doesn't make sense. This one absolutely doesn't make sense because, one, they publicly say it. So anybody that was doing it on their phone is just going to end up doing it on their computer or something, or get a different device and do it on it anyway. So it's not going to stop the problem. But what it is going to do is create an attack vector for people to use to attack innocent people. And I don't know about you, but I don't trust anybody. I don't trust Twitter. I don't trust Facebook after they've cleared so many reports of people threatening to kill my family. I had somebody say he was going to come in the house and rape my wife in front of me and watch me watch the life leave from her eyes before he slit my throat. And I reported to Facebook, and they got back 24 hours later and said, oh, we have manually reviewed this and determined that it doesn't violate our community guidelines. Same thing happened on Twitter, and it's happened on everything I've reported on TikTok. On TikTok, I reported a kid that was literally yelling the N-word for 30 seconds straight, saying that he was a 100-pound gorilla that was going to, basically, I'm not going to say the word "r" your ass. And I reported it as underage kid, malicious intent or whatever. And it immediately reports back 10 seconds later, says, oh, we've manually reviewed this and come to the conclusion it doesn't violate our community guidelines. We recommend that you block this user. These systems do not work. Automated systems don't work. And you know what the worst part is? I've had 3 of my posts just in the last week alone deleted from TikTok that didn't violate any company guidelines at all, just because people mass reported it because they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Like, no shit. I had a post reply that said, hey, how's life going, guys? Just want to let you know life's been a little shitty for me lately. How's life going for you? And it immediately comes back after like 15 minutes, flags it and deletes it and says, this violates our community guidelines for bullying. I'm like,
wow. And it's mass reporting, right? Like botnets, mass reporting your stuff.
Same thing happens on YouTube, right? So it's like these systems can be gamed.
Yeah.
And if these systems can be gamed, and the thing is, all the worst those systems can do, which is already really bad, is just kick you off the platform and suppress you. That's already bad in itself, but those are private companies. They can do whatever the fuck they want in that regard. If they don't want you on there, they don't have to let you on there. The problem with this is now it's involving an AI and tying it to law enforcement. You're taking this broken ass mechanism that can't fucking be trusted, and you're basically allowing it to trigger the events that lead to law enforcement response. And do you really think a law enforcement officer that thinks he's responding to a pedophile? Do you really think that officer is gonna fucking treat you with respect? And no, he's gonna, just like I would. I mean, fucking, I'd come in the door, fucking guns blazing. Like, it's just too fucking dangerous. And that's my point. It infringes. Not only does it infringe on free speech, but Apple has way too many bugs to be an authority on this. You should not be tying any kind of AIs or analysis system into actual law enforcement. And you certainly should not be taking content off of people's devices that you were not authorized by them to look at in the first place, just so you can be the arbiter of, I'm going to have another human being look at you humping your wife to determine if it's bad or not. Like,
but that's how they get you. Is it's going to be just built into the iCloud agreement. Like, as soon as you make an Apple ID, you're going to agree to the terms and services that come along with everything it takes to make your phone do what you want it to do.
Yep.
And you probably already have agreed to it.
True. Yeah. It's like, but the nice thing about EULAs is they're not legally binding if they infringe on any known right, like federal right. EULAs have lots of shit in them that doesn't stand up in court.
Yeah, but are you going to be able to fight Apple?
I doubt it. They're a $2 trillion company and they own like all the legislators. So I highly doubt I'll be able to do shit.
No, of course not.
Let's be honest. If Apple wanted us dead tomorrow, we'd just be dead. Like, I mean, it's like there's not really much you can do about it. But I'll tell you what, despite that and knowing that, I'm still going to speak out against this shit. I'm still going to educate people because I'm a software developer with 15 years seniority at Microsoft working on lots of security shit. It actually was something I specialized in. 5 years of my career was security. And I can tell you right now that with the shit that I saw extracted from dump files, there is no fucking way you want Apple doing this. Like, and Microsoft didn't have a mechanism to involve law enforcement, which in many of these cases, some of the shit that was in there, they should have. But my point being is they didn't, because they didn't have context as to why it was there.
Yeah.
Like if it was a broken Internet Explorer session, it had a broken iframe in the background that somebody opened as an advertisement. That advertisement pointed to some underage content or something like that they never saw because in the background. I have no context for that from the dump file. All I know is that image data was stored in memory and stored on a hard drive. So that's the problem with this shit. So, hold on here. I don't think this one's bad, right? It's a photo scanning app. I hauled for Amazon last night and their entire system was down, not letting us pick. Wait, what is that? Shit, speaking about this Apple photo scanning crap, I hauled for Amazon last night.
Touching on just how shitty any of this stuff can really be. It's all half broken.
Yeah. Oh, did you see the other thing that like I actually kind of thought this was cool, but at the same time, I think this could be abused too. Did you notice with your Apple phone now, if you turn on the camera app and you just take a picture, if it notices any QR codes in the photo, it automatically resolves them and gives you the links to click on to go to those sites or open up that data?
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool that it just automatically like you have a shipment or something like that with a QR code or a product. You just take a picture of it in your library and boom, it pops up with the link.
Yeah, that's been a thing for a little while.
Yeah, so like with the AI scanning, that means, they can, and they also have face, cameras can already identify faces. Mm-hmm. But and this is another thing that scares me is like, you ever go on social media like Twitter or Facebook and it'll say, oh, here's some photos somebody posted that you're tagged in. It'll automatically image recognize your face in the photo that they posted, even if you're in the background of like a con photo, and it'll put a little square around it and notify you that they posted.
You want to be tagged in this photo?
Yeah. Do you want to be tagged? And they even ask, right? They don't just do it. They ask because obviously people could just post photos to get you to tag they'd expose your account. So if somebody wanted to find you, all they'd need is a picture of you. Go to Facebook, post on their profile, and then it'd be like, oh, it tagged this person over here, and you'd have their account.
It used to almost be, I remember when they first started doing that, I think it was automatic. It would automatically tag you in Facebook photos, and people were like, no, I don't want to, because like people were getting in trouble for being at parties and stuff.
Exactly.
Or like doing what some might consider to be morally questionable, whatever. But like, and then like their HR, because you're friends with your boss on Facebook and like that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And like people don't want their private Facebooks known, but as soon as it tags somebody, it's, oh, this person tagged you in a photo and now you have their account, even if it was obscured and they changed their name or something like that. So shit like that, like these companies don't really think before they jump, right? It's like, it's part of the, and again, like if they wanted to implement this technology and everybody's like, yeah, cool. And it's they agree to it. Like you're like, okay, I agree to this. I'll put this on my phone and I'll do it fully well knowing that it's going to do it. But it doesn't create a situation where a single person gets to like lynch you and change your life.
Right.
Like as long as the system was implemented in a place where they detect something they think's bad, they just fucking tell you they're going to delete it and they delete it and you agree to that. Like if we find a photo on your phone, we don't like or whatever, we're just going to fucking delete that shit. If you agree to that, I'm fine with that. Where I have the problem is regardless of how something gets on a device, police come to your fucking house and like raid you
Yeah.
and almost kill your family because fucking Apple's source code told them to. Like, I'm not okay with that. I'm also not okay with an Apple employee being the arbiter of morality. I'm not okay with an Apple employee going, oh, that's we're going to go ahead and flag this hash of a person breastfeeding their child after they just had him in the hospital because that's child abuse. And I believe personally that's child abuse. So I'm going to flag that. And then depending on whichever person gets the report and process, it depends on whether it's considered innocent and personal to you or whether it's considered CSAM and the cops can break down your door because some fucking person that's paid $15 an hour or whatever is just quickly clicking back and forth on shit because they want to go to lunch. Like, I've witnessed this shit happen too many times on different platforms, and I've watched it go horribly wrong every single time, and I've yet to see a single platform get it right. So am I really going to trust Apple on the device that I use the most every single day and my gateway to the internet 90% of the time? Am I going to trust Apple to make those decisions ethically and correctly in my benefit? Fuck no. Like, not just no, fuck no, I wouldn't. And I would dump all of it and go to Google in a second, even though honestly, I don't like Android nearly as much as iOS. I would dump it all in the fucking garbage and move to Android if I had to, just so that my family doesn't have to go through a fucking raid because some 14-year-old kid decided he could get around SWAT protection by just planting fucking things in an iframe on my phone. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, this is going to be super, super bad. Like I can just feel like they're saying, oh, the threshold is selected to provide an extremely low 1 in 1 trillion. Right.
No, that's a bullshit.
Probability of incorrectly flagging a given account. Bull. And then of course there's a manual review process.
Maliciously doing
it's going to be. I guarantee this whole this whole system is going to get flooded.
Yeah,
because just goofers, just guys who want to fuck over Apple are going to just.
Just like they did with the Watson database at Microsoft. They'll just generate a program that just crashes a million times.
You're gonna just flood their fucking system. Like, okay, you're gonna tell me that it's gonna be locally scanned. Well, okay, I'm sure some iPhone hacker guy out there is gonna just be able to plug something into the iPhone, and it's gonna have a bunch of objectionable content or stuff that's gonna get flagged that way, and just flood, massive flood. And there's no way that there's gonna be enough manually reviewing.
Yeah, you know what I'd do if I didn't have a family? If I didn't have a family and that system came online, the very first thing that I'd do is I would just generate like 1,000 false hashes and just flood the phone with it, trigger the system over and over and over again until I get the dumb guy that fucking clicks the button because he didn't even bother looking because he was in a hurry. And as soon as the cops show up my door, I'm going to be out on my front porch, surrender, hands in the air, and then sue Apple and the police department for like fucking $500 million. And I'd win. And I would absolutely fucking win. And you think people aren't going to do that? People do that to every system. They did it to Microsoft's Watson database. They did it to what was it? Google, the Google dashboard that tracks your GPS coordinates. Somebody just fed it like billions and billions of false GPS coordinates, like trying to fill the database with bad data. These things happen all the time. It's like what these fuckers do. So it's just this. But the thing is, like, again, none of these systems involved law enforcement. That's where this goes horribly fucking wrong, is when you allow another human to make the decision of whether cops go to your house without context, without understanding. They don't know if the person's a victim of attack. They don't know if the person's been hacked. They don't give a shit. They're just like, oh, we detected this. It meets our threshold. Fucking go to their house and raid them. And I can tell you right now, you don't recover from shit like that. You really don't. Like you don't. My son, I have an autistic child. That's why I had to get the swatting paperwork. Do you really, if the cops busted my front door and come in fucking guns blazing, my kid is going to scream bloody murder and run around, and the cops are probably going to fucking shoot him. And I cannot have that happen. I know there's a lot of people on the internet that want to see my son die because they're fucking delusional and they don't think he's a human being, even though he's the sweetest kid you've ever seen in your entire fucking life.
Just makes my skin crawl.
It does, dude. And honestly, it's something you never get used to. Like, you'd think, like, a lot of people say, oh, it just rolls off your back after all these years. No, I'm used to it, but that is a bad thing. I should not be used to and desensitize people threatening to murder my child and my family and rape my wife and shit like that. I should not have to be desensitized to this shit. And the problem is nobody does anything about it when I report that shit. Nothing that I report, nobody does anything about it. But Apple's going to bring a system online that, not knowing any of the context or any of the details, is going to fucking initiate an action that could kill my son. No, fuck that shit. Like, I am so fucking over this at this point. Like, I feel like Apple is just going after like what they consider low hanging fruit. I feel like Apple's trying to create something that's like, oh, revolutionary, and this is going to fix everything. And they're not actually giving any thoughts of should we versus can we? Like, they're not thinking of the bad situations, which blows my mind, because Apple knows that their fan base streams from their phones and does things from their phones. They know this, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
just
don't
a
know.
huge fucking attack vector for their audience, and I'm not going to stand for it. So unless Apple releases a statement that says, "All right, fucking, we heard
Just
the
kidding.
people, we're backing this shit out," or whatever, like, no, we're only going to do iCloud, and we're not going to fucking have a mechanism to lock your phone and do this shit. We're going to follow the letter of the law or whatever. Unless they do that, I'm done with Apple. When iOS 15 drops, my phone fucking goes for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and I go get a fucking Android device. Because which I can't believe I'm saying, because Google is even worse about privacy than Apple is old Apple, if they don't go down this path, right? Apple was the best platform for privacy. It still blows my mind, but it is true. Their track record speaks for itself.
Yeah,
but if they do this, they throw that entire thing away, and they will never get that back. They will never get that back. And then the thing is, when this does backfire on them, and it will, and there's going to be a whole bunch of lawsuits against Apple, law enforcement, everything, they're just going to disable it and back it out and be like, okay, yeah, we really didn't think about that, or the system needs some more tweaking, so we'll go fix this. But what about all the people they just fucked?
Yep.
What about all the people that they harmed? All the fucking legal expenses, the police, the trauma from being like thrown in prison and attacked against your will, and like they don't consider any of that shit. It's like, Apple, you are literally fucking with people's lives.
Like, yeah, it doesn't matter. They won't. Even if they get fined, it'll be a drop in the bucket.
They don't fucking care. That's the truth. That is the truth. They have so much money, they don't give a shit. Like, there's no lawsuit you could bring against them that they couldn't be 10 times more profitable in 10 minutes and recoup from. So I want to thank a couple new members. We got America's Finest in the house. Thank you for that membership. Eric G, thank you for the $20 super chat. That is so beyond generous, dude. He said, "Hey guys, just turned in not too long ago. Sucks. I missed the beginning with David. I'm sorry about that. It was cool that he showed up though. We've missed him. He's been busy out in the field shooting videos
it's
for
good.
movies. Yeah. We'll rewatch later." He said, "Anyways, all the spying makes me long for the days in the past when none of this existed and life was simpler." I know, like the days where like you bought a video game and it was all on the CD and there was no updates, or you didn't have to have an internet connected device to play a game because it needs to check the server to make sure you didn't steal it. Like, just different days, right? Like, but again, it's like you have to trade things for convenience. I totally get that. That's why I have an Amazon Alexa. It's like, yeah, I know the thing listens to me all the time, and it's probably randomly sampling me moaning into the thing and sending it to Amazon employees to review and shit like that. But as long as it's not, as long as I'm not having to agree to a thing that allows them to say, "Oh, go to court because they took one of my jokes that I told a friend out of context," or something like that, it's like,
that's a huge thing. Yeah,
that's a big deal, man. That is a really fucking big deal. Like when shit can be used like that. Like then we actually become fucking North Korea when that happens. Hey Patrick, thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, "Wait till they inevitably turn the system into dangerous memes or misinformation." No, this will be if they bring this online, they are literally bringing on fucking Skynet. Like, this is gonna turn on us so fast. And the thing is like there'll be retaliatory strikes too. So what'll happen is all the people that abuse this, that attack innocent people, now those innocent people are going to turn and fucking attack them back using the same mechanism. And it's just going to be mutually assured destruction until they turn this shit off.
Yep.
And the other problem is you run into the same problem with people like, not recording cops when cops do bad things. What happens when the cops come and arrest me? And the only public information that's public is we found this hash on this person's phone. There's no context. There's no follow-up saying how this is a common practice, how the hash could have got there, how Discord works, how Instagram works, how web pages work, and how they store images and cache things within the file system. Like, there's none of that information is going to be along with it. So the average citizen is just going to be like, wow, what a sick fuck. I hope they put him away. And it's like, that person's a fucking victim. Like, I will not support any system that makes that easier to do. Like, no way. I want them to have to do their work. I want them to have to do their job. I want them to have to make sure that a person is guilty before they go and fucking destroy their lives. And then even if they're wrong, this is another thing I don't like when I watch, like, the auditors online, is the people that will be brutalized by the cops, thrown in jail for 15 days, charged all these fines, have to go to all these court dates, legal, wear a fucking ankle bracelet. And then in the end, they're just like, "Oh, not guilty because this video exonerated you. We're sorry." They don't get any back pay. They lost their jobs. They lost their livelihood. They can't get hired again because their other job won't give them a reference because they basically abandoned their job. There's so many fucking things that go wrong that destroy someone's life, and the law enforcement agency is just like, "Oh, well, hey, we're sorry. My bad. You can leave now." And it's like, you never see any follow-up on that. You never see the story on the news that's like, oh, the guy that was like arrested and thrown in jail for 15 days and got accosted and stabbed in jail. Turns out, he wasn't the one we were actually looking for. Like, because we didn't do our due diligence and we really didn't have any evidence to hold him. But, fuck, whatever. Hey, Christian. He said, maybe just don't update to iOS 15 and wait for 15.1 when they axe the system. The only problem with not upgrading is you open up massive security holes, right? With every version of iOS, they're fixing a huge amount of architectural security holes. Like, regular security holes can be patched. architectural security holes can only be fixed when you implement the new features or rewrite the new features. So by not upgrading to 15, you're basically going to have a bunch of bugs and shit that are found in 14 that won't get fixed in 14. They'll only get fixed in 15, and then you'll be vulnerable to attack. So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't, unfortunately. Let's see what else we got going on in chat here. Bird said, I hear it won't affect you if you have iCloud photos off. I believe that that's inaccurate. I've seen some people saying that, but I believe that that's inaccurate, because if it was, let me tell you why. Okay, let me tell you why. Why would they do a local scan? Why would they do a local scan at all if this only applied to iCloud? Because if you had iCloud enabled, all your photos would sync to iCloud, and they would just scan them on their server side without wasting the bandwidth from the cell provider.
Yeah.
The reason that they're doing the scanning on your phone and sending the hashes to your phone is because they're scanning everything on your phone, not just the image, not just the images that are in your photo thing that sync to iCloud, because you can also say which things you want to sync and which ones you don't want to sync. They are scanning the entire photo catalog locally. And in the document, when I read, there's one paragraph where they actually say, and I think it's to cover their ass in this situation, that if we find a hash match on your phone, regardless of iCloud, it's like if we find it locally on your phone, it will be uploaded along with the hash to be manually reviewed. So that's not, if it was in iCloud, they would just look at it anyways, right?
Yeah.
So that, and the thing is, like, also, if you're doing a bunch of illegal shit on your phone, are you going to enable iCloud? Probably fucking not. Like, are you going to upload all your shit to like the fucking some cloud storage thing if you got a bunch of illegal shit on your phone or sensitive stuff? I mean, people probably do it all the time. Honestly, that's how the whole iCloud fucking leak happened in the first place with the fappening.
Yep.
But if people knew, like if people were actually like savvy and they knew, they probably would disable that shit. But again, it was enabled by default. I remember that the iCloud shit when it first came online, it was by default. And then they started asking you later on because people complained.
Or like as part of the setup, it's like just like they do with the Windows initial, the out of box experience stuff. So it's like click, and it's like, yep.
Yeah, I think right now they show you, but when it first happened, like I remember when iCloud first came online, there was no option. It's just you upgraded to the latest iOS, and it just started syncing your shit in the background when you weren't using the internet connection.
Yeah.
And the reason that I know that to be true is because when it first happened, I have a bandwidth thing on my router that tells me like, how much bandwidth is being used over time. And overnight, it was reporting that it was transferring like 60 or 70 gigabytes of data. And I was like, what the fuck was transferring 60 or 70 gigs of overnight when I wasn't doing anything? Like, that's a little sus. And no, it was iCloud. iCloud syncs when the phone is idle and when the internet connection is idle. So it was making the determination like when it can upload and when it can't. And I was like, fuck. And sure enough, I went to my iCloud and all my images were there. And I was like, I didn't put them there. I don't want my shit in the cloud. So I disabled iCloud. And also, here's the thing, too. When you disable iCloud, the images that are already up there are up there forever.
Right.
Databases don't delete data. Deleting data from a database fragments it. So what they do is they just change a 1 to a 0 that says leave them out of a query.
Yeah.
They can still query it on their end on the back end. We did the same thing at Microsoft. If something had to be removed the database because it was of a sensitive nature, or it came from one of our government clients, we would go into the database and change a 1 to a 0 as if it was searchable. And then in the stored procedures that you ran to search the database, it would just omit the ones that were a 0. So you could still go back and look at that database at any point in time. And the reason why they have to do that is because you break the chain of custody if you delete a piece of data in a relational database. So if you have somebody that's like, at this point they were here, at this point they were here, at this point they were here, and you remove the center section, you can't connect these two because they're no longer related. They don't make any sense without the center stop. Yeah. So you have to have that in there. So what they'll do is they'll say, just mark that as not searchable so that it doesn't come up, but it's still preserved so that the database makes sense and it knows how to interjoin each record. Think of it like a linked list. Watch this be the next thing that Russia abuses to throw the U.S. into chaos, right? Throw hashes on select people of interest in the U.S. to stroke political chaos. No, absolutely. And China's already doing this on social networks. Like one of the biggest things that I called out earlier this week was on TikTok. I noticed the trend when I was on TikTok. When I was scrolling through the thing, I kept seeing all these crazy people spreading like COVID propaganda and anti-U.S. propaganda and talking about how the United States is this and that and everything, like crazy fucking people. We're talking like full on Trump supporters, right? Just going fucking nuts. It's 5G in their bloodstream. And they have a way to report them. Like you can click report and the very first option is people spreading misinformation about COVID. Every single one that gets reported, the channel never goes away and their posts never go away. Not one of it. Doesn't matter. People can mass report them. Some of these things have millions of views. And the reason being is because it actually is beneficial for China for that mentality to be served to everybody that's scrolling through the thing. They want them to see these batshit crazy videos and everything because it has an appreciable effect on the mentality of people in the United States and how they view each other. It creates this overwhelming like anger towards each other and divisiveness. And social media, all social media does it to some extent, but I'm just saying TikTok takes it to a very obvious level.
Yeah.
So if that can be used, and that's not even involving law enforcement, honestly, now take a mechanism where somebody in China can launch a campaign that just goes and generates a bunch of hashes and false hashes in a database, and even pays off people at Apple that are going through and verifying those things. You could presumably just put anybody away that you want to and have them lock away for a period of time so you could hit your goal. Like, how, you know, even if it's false arrest, even if it's false imprisonment, they have to let them go like 24 hours later or 48 hours later. That's 24 hours that you kept them off social media when they may have been outing things that you were doing. Right. So it's like, that's why we got to be like really careful about this shit, guys. So please don't be so quick to look at this, because here's the thing. Apple's like, we're trying to protect children, because what is the one thing Apple can tell you that will make you give up all your rights?
Yep.
They could just say, we're looking for anything illegal. We're looking for pirated software. We're looking for movies. We're looking for any documents that say you're a terrorist. We're looking for any documents that say that you were at a riot or you were at a protest. They could just say that, but then people would be like, fuck that. I ain't signing up for this. It's because they're hitting the one thing that they think universally everybody will just accept any consequence. And truthfully, it's a good business decision, because who the fuck is going to be against that? You saw people in chat today going, oh, you must be a pedophile if you're against this. It's because they know that's the reaction from ignorant people. They know that people are going to feel like they have to be that way so that they conform. They know that that's an easy way to slip something by. And don't give up your fucking freedoms, guys. Don't allow this shit to happen. Don't support a company that does shit like this, because Apple is all about money. Yeah. If you don't buy their shit and you don't use their shit, they will about face so fast they'll make your head spin. They've done it on about a dozen issues already. So like, just be vocal about this, because Apple's trying to just sneak one by. They're hoping that by labeling this thing in a certain way, but it already didn't work. I mean, we're far from the first people to talk about this. It's like every major tech person, including Linus, to some extent, has talked about this already before us. Yeah. So this is something that is definitely peak. I mean, fucking what's his name? Lewis Rossman even talked about it, right? You got fucking Edward Snowden weighing in on it. You've got all these people talking about this because they're smart enough. These are people that are in the technology industry, understand software, hardware, servers, infrastructure. They all see this as a huge fucking threat. Yeah. Okay. So listen to the experts on this one. Don't listen to fucking Uncle Joe Bob or whatever on Facebook go, America, this is a good thing. Like, this could never fucking go wrong. Just like I didn't get the vaccine because COVID ain't real. Like, don't wait until you're in the hospital dying and on a ventilator to regret your decision. Like, fucking fight for your shit now. There's other ways to fight this, and there's other ways to take this down that are much more effective and have way less of a chance to be abused to attack people. So work with those. All right, guys. Well, it's 12:55. You guys got any other quick questions before we wrap up today's Tech Talk? I think this is a great Tech Talk, though, because this is something that needs to be talked about, and I hope that this is what I hope you guys do. Normally, I don't ask this of you guys, but I hope that every single one of you, regardless of your stance on this, talk about it. Like, get vocal. Even if you agree with it and you think that it's the greatest fucking thing since sliced bread for whatever reason, go and be vocal about it on social media, because we need this shit trending. We need as many eyes on it as possible. We need everybody to be making an informed decision on whether they want this in iOS 15 or not. Because if the majority of people are just like, I don't give a shit either way because I don't know how it works and I don't really care and it just sounds cool from the title, this is just a fucking slippery slope that will never fucking end. Yeah. Will never fucking end. So please be vocal. James said AuxxZillary.
He pulled it. He did ask that same thing before. He goes, can you give your thoughts on overly offended snowflake movement that's going on where gotta baby everything you do because someone may get offended from a word or post? I feel so. Just to start, I feel that is a overly reductionist take on things. I do think that there have been certain events that have taken, I'm offended too far. But at the other side of that coin is like, I feel like there are a lot of people who get bent out of shape over the ask that you respect them. I have no problem like using preferred pronouns, right? And that's a tough thing. That's, it's bad habits, right? Yeah. It's hard to break that habit. There is someone close to my family who prefers a certain set of pronouns, and it's been a little tough to make the change, but like, it's not like I don't feel like salty at the ask, or at like, oh right, that they want me to do this thing. It's fine, like whatever. And I don't know, it's just super weird. I feel like it's not as bad as it seems. But also I feel like a lot of times it's the people who are calling folk snowflakes and blah 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 who are the ones who are the most offended.
Oh, easily, yeah. I've noticed that trend.
Yeah. I don't know.
I will tell you this though, my position is really simple. Context, not words. If you're not intent on harming something, and it's clear that you're not intent on harming somebody or offending them, then you taking it as being offensive, like you're reaching, like you are literally trying to take a position of power where one doesn't exist. But if the context of what somebody's trying to do is offensive, then I'm all for it. Fucking go whole hog. And that goes for everything. Like if somebody's just being patronizing as shit, saying something that shouldn't be offensive at all, but it's clear what their intent is, then treat the intent, the context, not the words.
Like the pronoun thing, right? Okay, so someone asks to be referred to as he, him, or they, them, right? And their physicality perhaps doesn't match up with that. And to push and say, well, they're not, or she's not a him. Like, where's the harm in just being like, you know what? Okay. They, them, easy. Like where is the, they'd be like, to me, it's no different than somebody saying, my name is James. I don't like being called Jim. Please don't call me Jim.
Yeah.
I prefer Mike over Michael. What's the difference?
Yeah. Or if somebody gets like offended because you say he, but they identify as she, it's like, correct them if you want a different pronoun from what they're observing. Don't get all like upset about it. Like you should automatically know what I identify as, because then I'm making another assumption. Yeah. Like, what if that's the wrong assumption? What if I'm like she and you're like, no, I just like to dress this way. And there's a lot of different situations. So the way it is, if you want somebody to call you something, correct them. Tell them that what you'd like to be called. And if they're a nice person, they're going to agree to call you that if they want to like continue being engaged with the relationship and stuff, because that's the right fucking thing to do. It's being nice. But also don't punish somebody for referring to you something as they were taught. Like that was the norm when they were taught it, right? It's like it takes time for change. And even with full change, even if everything changes, there's no fucking guarantee that they're going to get it right. Even with everything, I still see situations where somebody accidentally calls a man a woman or a man who's just cis, and it just happens, like the voice or looking at him in a certain light or something like that. It just happens, right? And in that case, you're like, you correct them, right?
Wasn't there like a couple movies, Pat? Right? There's like
I remember Pat back in the day.
I think it was like an SNL skit originally or something, and there was like a couple movies about it, and like that, it's like that. It's that kind of thing. Like you don't know, and so what? I don't know.
There are people though that definitely get like you can tell that they want to be offended. Like that does happen, but do I think that that's like the vast majority of people? No, I don't really think so. Oh man, it's you're doing.
I got all squiggly again.
Yeah, where's my? Hold on, let me see if I can open control panel. Where's the? There it is. Okay, I got the control panel. I pushed. Wow, that's weird. You look clear inside of the control panel, but you don't look clear inside of OBS.
I don't understand.
There we go. I fixed it. I pushed the rainbow puke fix button.
Okay, because I can't imagine it's me. I can't think it's something that I have wonky.
Why can't they just do it automatically? I don't get it. They have the rainbow puke button fix. They should just automatically do it when it's needed. Like it wouldn't be hard to write an algorithm that's like bear in a snowstorm. It's just every once in a while do it. Just, like remember that one stream where I was just spamming it through like the whole thing, like just trying to get you clean. At least it's been better than that.
It's a respect thing, and it's also it's two sides, right? Like you do or say something that is offensive to me. First off, it's my choice. It's my interpretation of whatever it is you said or did. It's my choice that I become offended, right? I'm assuming intent, right? Like I don't know for sure sometimes you can make a good guess and you're probably right that you are intending to be mean or to hurt me in some way. But at the same time, it's also my responsibility to as a listener, as a person receiving this information, to kind of process it and gauge where it's coming from and the intent behind it and things like that, but then also to correct the behavior in a way that is receptive to that person too. Like misgendering, right?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, excuse me, sir, I'm a woman. Oh, my apologies. Right? Like and it goes both ways. Again, like if I react in an extreme way to the correction, then that's bad on me too. I'm not respecting them, right? And it's also how that correction is being given, and like because it's one thing if, oh, you're such a piece of shit, I'm not a fucking man.
Yeah,
that's too much for the perceived slight, right? But then also, if I double down and say, well, bitch, you fucking look like a dude, blah, 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 that's bad, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a mutual respect that has to be like everyone.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't care really. Like, if you want me, whatever. I don't. It is literally no cost to me in any way, whether monetarily, physically, emotionally, mentally, whatever. It does not cost me a thing to readjust myself to make you a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. No, I actually agree on all points. And another thing I saw, just to kind of give like the bigger picture, is I've seen some like ill intent on all sides. Man, a couple of days ago, I saw somebody who was like chewing out a person on Twitter, for a male who was not sexually attracted to a trans female, and said that's bullshit. Like that is absolute bullshit, because I am a woman and I identify as a biological woman. So you shouldn't treat me that way. And he's like, I'm just not sexually, because she asked, she's like, would you do me or something? And the person replied back and said, no, I'm not sexually attracted to a trans female. He's like, no, I'm a biological female, even though it says in the bio, I am a trans woman that identifies as biological female. And it's like, you can't be mad at the guy for who he's sexually attracted to.
Yeah,
and you
like,
physically
I don't like redheads or whatever.
Exactly. Like, it's like, you don't do that. It's like, don't take it to that level. It's like you can't just because you are identifying as somebody, or you feel like you're somebody, you can't force somebody else to accept that any more than asking like a gay person to be straight or a straight person to be gay. You can't. You have to accept that there's people out there that are going to have attraction. There's going to be people out there that are bisexual, cis, gay, omni. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different preferences. I have no problem with all of them. I actually think that everybody should be able to do whatever they want as long as it's consensual.
It doesn't.
But don't push that stuff. Like, that's the thing, is don't take it to the point where, because then you go the other way, right? You're trying to get like acceptance, and we're trying to get everybody to be like, you know what? Everybody has a right to do their thing and be their true self. I completely agree with that. But when you get to the point where you start being as oppressive as the people, you're trying to go the other direction and pull it and be like, no, you should be ashamed of being cis, or you should be ashamed of not being attracted to the same sex. Okay, now you're just fucking like going the other way. Like, don't be the person that you're trying to stop. Like, don't be the evil that you're trying to stop.
Again.
Hold on, let me push the rainbow. Where's Rainbow Pew Fix? There it is. Gotcha. I got you.
I don't know. There's just these broad generalizations too. Like, I don't know, man.
It's a tough topic. It is a tough topic. It is.
Like,
it is.
I mean, I don't. Clay, man, I'm gonna pick on you just a little bit. I don't mean no offense directly to you personally, but the comment itself, because I've seen this in other places, I avoid Twitter for that exact reason. You get the extreme left rampaging around. That is a gross overgeneralization.
Massively gross.
The honest to goodness, the content that you see on any social media platform is going to be affected by what you choose to see. Like, that's a confirmation bias. If you're looking for a red Volkswagen, you're going to see red Volkswagens. Like, if your intent is to be offended by Smurfs, then you're probably going to end up seeing a bunch of Smurfs and be bent out of shape about it. And I don't mean you specifically, just the generalized. I see the content that I want to see. I'm sorry, I apologize for the vacuum in the background, because we're over
that's
time.
What that is. I'm like looking around like, is there
my lady knows that we're supposed to be over time.
Is there a mosquito in here? No, I'm just kidding.
So apologize for the noise.
Yeah.
But it really is, and again, it's the choice too. It's the choice too to be offended. Like, you can entertain a thought without like adhering to it or something. There's like that kind of a thing.
Wait, the sound go away?
I lowered my volume.
Oh, okay. I just noticed. I was like, oh, the mosquito went away. No, I think
right by the door. So
I think she's probably like trying to get you off here. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. You guys have been.
I guarantee that's not her intent.
I know.
She just knows that we're done by now, and she'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry." So she's not at all trying to like rush us or anything. But yeah, we should wrap it up.
I'm just playing. No, today was a great stream. I really enjoyed this. This is a good topic. This is something that's like, it's rare that we have a topic that's like this important. Like this is something that's like really, really important that I think needs a lot more attention. And this is also going to dictate how other companies move forward and dictate where the goalpost moves as far as your privacy and your ability to not be like detained and thrown in jail when you're fucking innocent because a computer decided your guilt. So we really have to stand firm on this one. You guys have been awesome. We will see you next week. Same bad time, same bad place, 10 a.m. Pacific, Saturday here on Barnacules Nerdgasm for another wonderful episode of Tech Talk. Huge shout out to David. Also, thank you for showing up today. If you guys want to go check out David Hewlett, i.e. Dr. Rodney McKay, Stargate Atlantis, all of his links are in the video description to his tech banditry over on Twitch, and he would love it if you went to all of his different various platforms. He's really vocal on Twitter too. Head on over there and give him a follow everywhere and sub him, even if you don't watch on that platform. Just help bolster his numbers and have a good old time. And we will see you guys next week. If you want to see us during the week, our links are also for our Twitch streams that we do independently of each other throughout the week, all available in the video description. You guys know where to find them, and we'll see you guys over on Twitter. Until next time.